Ladies and gentlemen, members of the jury, members of the Roll the Tape film crew, welcome to another episode of Roll the Tape podcast with manager Marty. I'm excited to be here as the viewership is increasing exponentially. I welcome each and every last one of you who are here joining us live in living color. We have some boxing to talk about today. We have some business of boxing to talk about today. I'm excited about it. Glad to see all of you here. If you are here for the first time joining us, I want to say welcome. You will experience so many different emotions moving forward as the broadcast progress because we have so many interesting dynamics that usually fall in place on each and every segment here of Roll the Tape podcast. There are two objectives. There's only two objectives that I would like to provide when I'm going live on this podcast, and that is this: education and entertainment. So I want you all to learn and know about the business aspects and elements of the sport of boxing, but also we include entertainment because that's what you all really came here for. Yeah, you came for the education, of course, uh, but you also came to be entertained, and that's what we do here. So I want to welcome you, and I also want to welcome everyone watching as a returning viewer. Please like this video as you come on in, or if you hear or see anything that interests you as the broadcast progress, please feel free to hit the like button and support this channel. If you are watching the replay of this live, I welcome you as well. You can also participate by leaving a comment in the comment section below, and I will view it, and I also will respond if you become a member of this channel. That's one of the perks, and we're going to get to that a little bit later in this segment. And I also want to welcome the chat. Those of you that are engaging right now in the chat, um, I welcome you all. Thank you for your support and your contributions with your time and your financial resources. And that goes out to each and every last one of you, irregardless of the reason why you're joining this live. You still invested your time, and I appreciate it. We are going to discuss several things today. Uh, we're going to talk about Anthony Joshua's knockout performance over the weekend. We have to talk about that. That's the highlight of the weekend, or at least one of the highlights of the weekend. We're going to talk about it. We're also going to talk about whether or not the rematch should take place between Crawford and Spence at the end of the year. December is the month that we've been hearing thus far. We're going to discuss that. And we're going to have a nip it in the bud segment and a truth hurts segment. Again, we're going to do this live every time we go live. It's important. It's imperative that we do that. It's imperative. Yes, we do have our nip it in the bud segment for any Terrence Bud Crawford fan to join the platform and provide a perspective from Terrence Bud Crawford fans' perspective on the rematch of this fight. Should Terrence Crawford fight Errol Spence in a rematch? Number one. Number two, if he doesn't, who does he fight next? We heard him in a recent interview as early as today talking about Tank Davis again. We heard him in the Breakfast Club interview earlier, I would say mid last week, a few days ago, talking about Tank Davis and fighting Tank Davis. We've already covered a little bit of that on Friday. But Jamel Charlo is still around. We have to discuss that And the only people that can provide a perspective on it where we can engage in a dialogue effectively is Terrence Bud Crawford fans. So we have Nip It in the Bud here. And we also have another segment called The Truth Hurts. And in The Truth Hurts, Errol Spence Jr. fans will then have an opportunity to utilize the platform to express their perspective on whether or not Errol Spence should take this fight in December, because that's what we're hearing, that this fight is going to happen in a rematch with him and Crawford in December. Should he take this fight in December? Is he going to be ready? Should he wait? Should he even accept the rematch overall, period? We want to hear your take as an Errol Spence Jr. fan in this segment today. Before we do any of that, we have to do our Town Watch check-in. But before we do that, I also want to say we have to discuss Floyd Mayweather fighting again. This is what we're hearing. People are posting this all over social media. I don't know if it's true or not. It looks like from what you see on your screen, based on the advertisement and the digital flyer, that Floyd Mayweather will be taking on John Pascal. Now, we know who John Pascal is. We've seen him fight several times, and he captured a world title many years ago. We're going to discuss what this is all about. Is this real? If it is real, should Floyd fight him? I mean, does Pascal deserve a big payday? We don't know. We're going to discuss all of those particulars momentarily. But before we do that, yes, we're going to get to our Town Watch check-in. If you're joining us for the first time, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel, like this podcast. We are trending right now, and we've been trending since last week. In fact, I believe that we've been trending for the last 7 or 8 months that I've been on YouTube. And so we need your support. And when you click on that like button, when you, as they say, smash the like button, the education value and the entertainment on this podcast reverberates all around the world. Now, we have to do our Town Watch check-in because we got to get this show started. Our Town Watch check-in is very simple. If you're joining us for the first time and or if you are a returning viewer, our Town Watch check-in, it allows each and every last one of us that's viewing live to insert our location, geographical location in the chat. If you were born and raised in any city, state, island, and or country, you can include it in the chat. If you want to represent and acknowledge where you reside now, city, state, island, and or country, you can do that also in the chat. If you're watching the replay of this live, you can also participate by inserting your location in the comment section below. Now, the whole purpose of us doing the Town Watch check-in is very simple, because we have so many different engagements in our chat, on our panel, where we have differing perspectives, where we don't agree all the time, where we don't see eye to eye all the time. So our Town Watch check-in basically is a reminder that this channel, this podcast is all inclusive, irregardless of your race, irregardless of your color, your ethnic background, your religion, etc., your gender, etc. None of it matters. And our Town Watch check-in publicly acknowledge that we share one thing in common, even if we have differences, and that is our love for the sport of boxing. I'm doing way too much talking, and so I'm going to be quiet right now, and I'm going to wait until the viewership increase exponentially, and then momentarily, in a few seconds, we are going to do our Town Watch check-in, and I'm going to publicly acknowledge every city, state, country, and or island that's represented in the chat. And when I do that, you want to know that I'm acknowledging that you're in the house, you are in the building, and I appreciate your support. So if you are ready, I'm ready. Let's get it done. Let's go into the chat right now, the comment section below. If you're watching the replay of this live, let's start it now. We have to get this show popping right now. So let's start it off. I'm going to usually start it off. Y'all know how I do. I start it off and then I start reading all of those Town Watch check-ins publicly. And we get it on. I see my guy is in the chat right now. I haven't seen him in the chat in a while. I have to publicly acknowledge him first because he's a part of my boxing family. That's my guy, Nate Days. Shout out to my man, OG. Nate Days is in the building. But before we get into me shouting everybody out, we got to do our Town Watch check-in, y'all. But you know how it is when I see family. You know I got to stop everything I'm doing and give all love to the family. All right, so here we go. Town Watch check-in. I'm going to start it off, and we're going to get it on. Y'all ready? All right, cool. So, y'all know what it is. I'm representing my hometown of the great city of Philadelphia. Nope, not in Mississippi, because there is a Philadelphia in the state of Mississippi. Nope, my city, Philly, Philadelphia, in the state of Pennsylvania, by way of Arlington, Texas. Yeah, I named two of them, and you can too. So that's me. I'm representing. I need y'all in the chat to come. Let's start this show off right. Y'all know how we do. As the viewership is increasing exponentially, let's start it off. Okay, I did mine. Now I see one. I need more. Y'all got to start checking in. We got to start this off right now. We can't start no hot show all dry. We got to start it off right. That's why I do this. It's like our little icebreaker. That Town Watch check-in is very unique and creative. It's our icebreaker on the channel. So let's get it done. From Clinton, Maryland. Clinton, Maryland is in the building. Come on, y'all. Let's check on in. Nate Days, you in the chat. Come on and check on in, brother. Tell us where you from. I see. Look, I told y'all when I see Philly in the chat, I get even more excited. West Philly is in the building today. Who else we got in here? Let's check on in. Let's check on in. Don't sit there and wait for me. I did mine already. We did ours already. The ones that did, they did. We did ours already. We waiting on you. Come on, let's check on in. We got to start the show off right, y'all. You see the energy I bring to y'all? I need that same energy to return back to me. Let's go. Who we got? Let's check on in. Who we got? Let's check on in. We only got two? Look, if we only got two, then that's it. But I know we got more. I know we have more. And speaking of more, I got my guys from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in the building. Let's go. BX or B Next is here. Bronx, New York City, salute. I see you. Come on in. Let's check on in. I got all the heavy hitters in here today. Port City is in the building. I see you. Let's check on in. Let's check on in. Let's go. We got to start this show off right. Who else we got in here? Let's check on in. Queens, New York. Salute to Queens, New York. I see you. Who else we got in the building? Got a lot of East Coast going on in here. We got a lot of people representing the East Coast. Got any West Coast in here? Midwest? The Dirty South? Who else we got in here? Let's check on in. That's all we got? If that's all we got to move on. I know there's one more. I know there's one more. I already know it is. I know that there is one more. Do we have one more? One more check-in. Do we have one more? One more? No? That's it? Okay. Gotta move on then. And here's the thing I love about this, right? Just because a person is not showing us that they're watching because they're not engaging in the chat, it doesn't mean that they are not watching. Okay? Irv Irvine, California is in the building. I see you. I told you I knew we had somebody from the West Coast in here. We got to talk boxing today. We got to talk boxing. We have to. We have to talk some boxing today. Um, we must well just get this out the way now. We might as well. So Floyd Mayweather, this is a digital flyer that's been circulating over social media, all around social media. That is all day today. Floyd Mayweather fighting Jean Pascal. Salute! I got the hope. I got to stop everything. I got this. I just got to stop it because I see family in the chat, and I told y'all about 3 minutes ago that when I see family in the chat, I stop what I'm doing to acknowledge my family. And y'all already know how I feel about my family. And I got one of my family members right here in the chat, and he's also a content creator. And he's trending exponentially. His viewership is increasing exponentially, and that's my guy, my family. D-Town Boxing, salute. D-Town Boxing. Make sure y'all go subscribe to D-Town. Y'all don't got to do it now because D-Town already here. And we about to run this thing up. But when this live segment go off, make sure y'all go run over to my guy, my family, D-Town Boxing, and go subscribe to his channel. His viewership, his content, and everything else is increasing exponentially, and we support him over here. Now, Floyd Mayweather is supposed to be fighting Jean Pascal. This is what's been circulating all around YouTube, all around social media, all around Facebook, Instagram, all the outlets. I don't know if it's true or not, but it's circulating. I saw this circulating earlier today, and this is interesting to me. If this is really happening, that you see the logo, TMT logo at the bottom of the flyer, everything, DLP's logo down there, Bell Centre. Y'all know where the Bell Centre is? It's in Canada. You've seen John Pascal do big numbers over there at the Bell Centre. The last time he did a real big show over there was when he fought Bernard Hopkins. And this was well over 10 years ago. And Bernard Hopkins beat him. It was a really good fight. But in any event, Floyd Mayweather looks like he's basically going to do a world tour. He's going to fight in every other country. You know what I mean? And he's going to win. That's what it seems like to all of us, that he's going to travel from country to country because he is an international star. He's an international superstar. Let me reframe that with all respect to Floyd Mayweather, Money Mayweather. He is an international superstar. So he's traveling from coast to coast, country to country, kicking butt and taking names. So I'm just a little bit surprised that Jean Pascal is the opponent. Now, I'm not surprised in the sense of business because we know that Jean Pascal sells major tickets over there at Bell Center in Canada. But what makes me surprised is that Jean Pascal, he's been involved in a lot of controversy. When he was supposed to rematch a Mayweather Promotions fighter, but he came up testing positive for performance enhancing drugs. I don't know if you all remember that. Not too long ago. And I'm not saying that he's doing anything wrong. Pascal, I'm talking about. I'm just trying to figure out what made them choose him besides the fact that he's a good ticket seller. Besides that. And I'm talking about Badu Jack when I talk about the Mayweather Promotions fighter that Jean Pascal was supposed to fight a while ago, a couple years ago in the rematch. Um, we shall see. Now we know that Mayweather just fought um, John Gotti III. He just fought him. He just fought John Gotti III. Of course, Kenny Bayless was the referee, and it basically turned out to be a melee at the end of that fight. And of course, it's an exhibition, so it won't enter onto Floyd Mayweather's record, whether he win or lose. And on top of that, it won't enter on Jean Pascal's record, whether he win or lose. But we were just hearing that Floyd might fight John Gotti the third in a rematch. We were just hearing that, what, like a week or two ago? And now we see that this advertisement is circulating and reverberating all across social media platforms. And on top of that, Jean Pascal literally um, lost a fight recently. I mean, he does have power though, but the thing is, in 2021, they had to pull him from the fight with Badu Jack because of him testing positive for steroid use. And this is not the first time that John Pascal's name been involved in the controversy surrounding PEDs and steroid use. So I find it interesting history. Now, I'm not saying that he's on something now. Please don't mistake what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, from a business standpoint, the only conclusion I can come up with is the fact that he sells very well as a competitor at the Bell Center in Canada. I mean, that's the only thing I can see when we talk about reasons for Floyd even fighting, you know, Jean Pascal. And the thing about it is, it's not going to show up on none of their records, of course. Win, lose, or draw. But I'm just saying this. I just thought it would be another person that Floyd could have fought, even from um, Canada. But of course, because Jean Pascal just fought a few months ago, it makes him look like he's active. Maybe he's the most active opponent right now, representing um, Canada, who has a major following. And the thing about it is, though, uh, there's a weight difference, and we know this. There's a weight difference. Welterweight is Floyd's natural weight, but he can make 154 in my opinion. He is older now. But Jean Pascal never competed under the light heavyweight division. He's still a light heavyweight. So I guess we're gonna have to see how that's gonna pan out. But I do have a question for everybody in the chat and in the comments sections. Salute to my guy Rod Day, my man Pots and Pans. I see you. Rod, stay right there. Rod, don't move. Yes, sir, Mr. Qualified. Don't move, Mr. Qualified. Don't move, don't move. Because I'm gonna break down something in a minute that you and I talked about yesterday. And we're gonna dialogue over that right after I get finished talking about Floyd and John Pascal. But before I even talk about that, I want to know in the chat. I need some engagement here because I don't want your energy to wane. Okay, in the chat, do y'all think that this fight, even though it's an exhibition, it is an exhibition. We know this is a money grab. Do y'all think that this should be a fight that Floyd Mayweather should take? And I'm only asking that because of the size difference. We know Floyd Mayweather is a natural welterweight, 147 pounder. Of course, he's older. He has made the 154-pound mark by fighting Oscar De La Hoya in his first fight there. But we've never seen Floyd Mayweather compete at higher weight levels than that. And Jean Pascal, a light heavyweight naturally, even though he is older, don't get it twisted. He's not a young, hungry lion, but he is older. He is experienced, and he does have power. power. Is this a should be involved in with a guy who's 2 to 3 weight classes bigger than him, and a guy who's been uh, included in some controversy surrounding, his use of PEDs and steroids? Is this a fight that Floyd should be involved in? Somebody says yes. Floyd is helping Pascal make some money. Totally agree with that. Anyone else? Let's talk about it. Let's get into it now. Let's talk about it real quick. I don't know if it's real. Like I said, it was circulating all across the platforms of social media uh, earlier today, and we're going to see. Anyone else? I mean, should Floyd Mayweather take this fight against Pascal? I mean, this has been going on for a week now. We've been hearing certain things about, you know, this fight. You know, we gotta see what's up. That's what they're saying. Because last week we heard that they were in negotiations. You know what I mean? But I mean, should Floyd fight him though? I mean, even though he is in the higher weight class, I mean, light heavyweight fighting Floyd. I mean, one of the Paul, what's that Paul brother name that fought Floyd, y'all? I be getting both of them brothers mixed up. He was like relatively bigger than Floyd too, though. I mean, I'm not saying size mean everything. Skills pay the bills, but at the same time, this is boxing. We determine uh, all of the classes designated by the amount of weight that a fighter weigh in. So that's what makes me ask. Um, Now, somebody did say, and I see you, Bird. I appreciate the chat. I did hear that too when Floyd was talking about it in the interview about the money just wasn't there. You got to pay Floyd major money. You want him to participate in anything, you got to pay the man. So maybe what they believed can be generated was not there, wasn't made available. So uh, I don't know. We got to see. Um, I mean, I would never say Floyd should stop making this big money. It's an exhibition. I'm all for the fighters making bread. Y'all know that. But at the same time, it's like, people in their 40s now, want to see any of our legends, any of our veterans, get hurt. You know what I'm saying? And it is an exhibition. Don't get it twisted. But they still fighting. It's not no exhibition and we going to take it light on us, on each other rather. No, they fighters going to get in there and do what they do. So I wanted to ask a question to get the perspective of the fan base on this fight. Let's talk about Anthony Joshua's knockout over Hellenius. Let's talk about that. You know, I mean, what Anthony Joshua did. He knocked Hellenius out. Let me show my face. He knocked the guy out. I mean, cold. What round was that? The first round, y'all, or the second? I think it was the first. I could be wrong. But Anthony Joshua just went in there and he hit him with the same punch that we saw another man that represent England. And I'm talking about the Hall of Famer Lennox Lewis. Remember Lennox Lewis? hit I seen Rockman with that same combination, that 1-2, bop bop, with the step to it, bop bop. That's what Anthony Joshua did to Hellenius. And I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. You know what I mean? But my thing is, Anthony Joshua, he got a new trainer in Derrick James. We already know this. He has a new trainer in Derrick James. This is his second fight with DJ. And he looked pretty good. He looked pretty good Saturday. But let's keep it all the way 100, y'all. We got the deal what was real. Robert Hellenius was not a potential threat for Joshua. So this was good. It was good that they put him in there. Eddie Hearn and them, they put him in there with somebody who had a little bit of power that can keep Joshua honest, but at the same time, a guy, I think he was like 40, I think. Hellenius is like, what, 40, 39? So it's like, oh, yeah, we're going to talk about that. I see you, Tashi. Thank you for your support and your contribution to the channel. Tashi says, Joshua getting slept by Wilder. Period. And that's the building blocks that I was actually getting to. Because Joshua looked like the old Joshua on Saturday. Now, I know somebody can say, well, come on, Manager Marty. We didn't have enough time to truly and fully evaluate how effective his training has become with Derrick James, because he just knocked this guy out. But the thing is, we got to call it real and be real. Hellenius is a guy who just fought the Saturday before. Y'all don't even remember that, do y'all? He fought 7 days prior to fighting Joshua. That's when they say last minute replacement, that was a last minute replacement. And what I believe from a business aspect, Eddie Hearn and the promotion company and DAZN, they learned their lesson from the last time when they put Joshua in there with Andy Ruiz. They realized, don't put him in there with him. Don't put him in there with nobody that can back him up. Put him in there with a guy who can sell some last minute tickets. A guy who is not afraid, and a guy who can punch really good, considering his age, his late start, etc., etc. And the fact that Robert Hellenius got knocked out by Wilder in the first round. I was at that fight in October in Brooklyn, New York. So it's like, let's put him in there, get his confidence back up. And they did that. And Joshua got his confidence up. He did that. So it's like, I don't know if we should give him a lot of credit for the knockout, because he did knock the guy out. And he used one of the most effective combinations in boxing to do it. The 1-2. Ha, ha. He hit him with that and he stepped with it. Bang, 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 bang. That's how you got to do it. And Joshua might be ready for Wilder. What y'all think? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to keep it all the way on it. Joshua going to sleep if he fight Wilder. I got to keep it 100. I like Joshua. I think he's a cool brother. I think he can fight as well. But with Wilder, might not be ready for Wilder. But we've seen Wilder get in trouble too with people that know how to punch. So I'm not going to sit there and act like Anthony Joshua don't have a chance or something to beat Wilder. I don't see it happening. He can catch Wilder though with something. He can catch Wilder with something to hurt him. He definitely can do that. Might not be enough. Might not be enough. We're going to see, though, because I think that should be the next fight because Wilder's last fight was in October. So, oh, the fight was 7 rounds? Oh, I apologize. 7 rounds. And the thing is that Wilder, though, he fought in October, right? So he fought in October of 2022, and now Joshua just fought. So I think right now, both guys are ready to fight each other. Why not? Let them go ahead and get it on and rumble. Um, Speaking of 7, I don't think that fight is going to go past 7. I think Wilder can knock Joshua out within 3 or 4. But then again, I can't make those type of bold predictions because Joshua's with a different trainer, different perspective, different outlook, right? Built up confidence. But what Joshua doesn't have is heart. That's just my personal assessment, y'all. I am not an in-ring performance expert. I tell you that all the time. So if Wilder get in trouble, he's going to get up. We've seen him do it time and time again with a bigger puncher like in Fury. He going to jump right up. Now I ain't going to say jump right up, but he's going to get up. He has enough heart to get knocked down multiple times and get up. And then he has enough power, even if he does get knocked down, he's going to get up and then he's going to knock you down. We've seen this pattern with Wilder. We haven't seen that happen with Fury too many times. I'm not Fury, with Joshua too many times. We did see it happen with him one time when he fought Vladimir Klitschko. Remember? Klitschko knocked Joshua down. Joshua got right back up and he knocked Klitschko down. And they got it on for all them rounds until the fight was over. That was a good fight. I don't think he has enough for Wilder, Joshua. I don't. But we shall see. But I do think from a business aspect, it's time for both of these guys to fight each other. Now, of course, Joshua's from England, Wilder's from America. So they just got to figure out what location, they're going to fight at. Because when Klitschko hit him, that was the first time he ever got knocked down. But he got up. If Wilder hit Joshua with that same punch that Klitschko hit Joshua with, or Andy Ruiz, night. I can assure you, Joshua might not get up. Matter of fact, he gonna be down just like Hellenius was in the Wilder fight and the Joshua fight that just happened. So we shall see. We definitely shall see, because boxing is on the map this year. Boxing is definitely on the map this year, from January all the way to now. Even past now, next month when Charlo fights Canelo. See what I'm saying? When Canelo fights Charlo, that's next month. So boxing is on the map now. So we gotta see what it is. Yeah, y'all see that on your screen. For real? We have to have a for real moment now. For real moment. I'm not sure if my man Rod's still here. What's up, Remy? I see you in the chat. I don't see if my homie Rod is still here. If he's here, we're gonna get right into it. What I need to talk about. And what it is this, right? This is the for real part of our segment. Like, for real? Yeah, for real. Now, you all heard, and most of you have viewed the dialogue between myself and Rich Glacers. right? Rick Glaser, excuse me. Y'all seen the dialogue between me and him, right? I'm not bringing up nothing old, but I think it's very important that we have a for real moment because people walked away from that conversation thinking to themselves, for real? And I want to use this platform and this opportunity, I'm not going to take too long on it, to explain in detail what I was trying to portray so that you all can have the knowledge that I was trying to provide for you on Saturday night so that we all can be on the same page about how the business of boxing works. So we're going to have a for real moment, right? We're going to have for real moments. And so I wanted to tell you all that champions, let me just take my glasses off because I need y'all to hear what I have to say. World champions are not obligated to fight 4 or 5 times a year. You've heard Rick Glacier say that about Oscar De La Hoya when he was on this channel. And he talked about how Al Heyman and PBC don't allow their fighters to fight more than 1 time per year. And I wanted to give a little bit of translation so that we all can be on the same page. Because I think that people left out of that live, which garnered over 5.1 thousand views, left out of that live with a misinterpretation, with a misunderstanding. And that's not what this channel is about. We are about giving facts. We are about educating the public, right? So I'm not talking about nothing else except for the 1 year fighters only fight once a year comment. That's all I'm talking about. I'm not talking about nothing else to happen. So let's put this in perspective, right? Yes, PBC fighters have fought once a year. That's a fact. Okay. It's not because Al Heyman ruined the business of boxing. This was the narrative that was brought up on this channel when I spoke to Rich Glacier. It's not because PBC messing up the money. Al Heyman messed up 900 something $1 million from investors. That has nothing to do with it. As I made comments about this privately, I'm going to publicize it now by saying it's all about business. Top Rank has done the same thing. That's why I brought up Crawford, and I was going to bring up the fact about the sanctioning bodies with Crawford and bring up other fighters that do the same thing that are world champions and bring up why. I was going to do that, and Rick Glacier, y'all saw what he did. He ran off, which is no problem. Bottom line is this. World champions are not obligated. If they choose to fight more than once, fine, but they're not obligated. And so the thing about it is, when people sit there and they listen and say, oh, Rick Glacier sounded right. PBC fighters do only fight once a year. That is hurting the business of boxing. I'm here to tell you it's not. This has been going on for years. All the other promoters, they do the same thing with their world champions. And I want to say this because I think this is equally as important. When you got somebody like, let's say, Terrence Crawford, a world champion, right? He is obligated under contract to do what? What is he under contract to do when it comes to the belts? Yep, you guessed it. He is obligated to defend his title mandatorily. This is the other side of the coin that you did not hear when Rich Glacier was trying to discredit Al Heyman and PBC. According to the rules and the regulations, the WBA, the WBC, the IBF, WBO, they all state that there's a time frame that each champion that holds a belt will have to defend that title or titles, but let's say title, within a certain time frame. Now, when the WBO issued the title, they, in their rules and regulations, and please don't let me roll the tape and pull it up, because I've done it on this channel before about the rules and regulations of the WBO. Their language is very simple. Every champion must fight a mandatory challenge within how many months, y'all? 5 and 4, 9 months. So once every 9 months, the world champion that's representing the WBO will have to compete. Now, of course, Canelo Alvarez, he got his own exclusive deal. He made them so much money, they probably be like, man, you can fight whatever you want to fight. Because we know you're going to fight more than one time a year. We know you're going to fight in May, the first week, first Saturday, and we know you're going to fight in September. They know that already. So what I'm talking about is someone outside of the success of a Canelo Alvarez. Many Face Publishing, thank you for your support to the channel and your contribution as always. Manny Face Publishing says, you doing way too much talking. Roll the tape. Yes, indeed. But I got to do a little bit of talking just on this small little piece. And yes, I am going to roll the tape. So that's the part that you did not hear from Rick Glaser when he's talking about PBC fighters are only fight once a year. Well, first of all, most of them are world champions. They have to fight once every 9 months according to, let's say, the WBO regulations. So they're going to fight once a year just off of that alone as a champion. Just off of the rules and regulations alone, they're going to fight once a year. I'm just saying. So if you hold the title, you got to fight your mandatories once every a minimum of 9 months. That's once a year right there. And PBC and Al Heyman do not regulate the WBO rules and regulations. This is standard practice for all boxers, period. I just wanted to get to that point. Okay? Now, when we talk about, first of all, let me back up. Do y'all understand what I'm trying to say? In the chat, can somebody give me confirmation on that? I want to make sure you all are educated now. You're not going to hear that nowhere else. I want to make sure that each of you are educated on what I just said. Let me see. Do we have anybody in the chat? I just want to make sure each and every last one of you understand my point. I see you, Bird. Thank you. So don't be deceived when you hear things that are not true. It might sound good, might sound right. You know, but we got to deal with truth, and we do that on this channel when I educate you all. Everybody under a promotional company as a world champion most likely has fought more than one time. But just because they fought more than one time does not necessarily mean that they have to fight more than one time in 1 year's of time. See what I'm saying? So yeah, they fought more than once. Most of the champions to defend their title. But at the same time, it don't mean they have to fight more than once in 1 year. And just because PBC fighters only fight once a year, don't mean that that's wrong. Their situation is different. And injuries are included in that equation. But it's no different than any other promotion company when it comes to the champions. So I just wanted to clarify that because there was some confusion in the translation of what was said from Rick Glaser and how only champions, fighting once a year is over at PBC, and that's not true. All right? And you got to understand this too, though. I'm not an in-ring performance expert. So I'm not saying, hey, if they don't compete, they're not rusty, because they are. But at the same time, it's not a knock on the business. See, that's the issue. It's not a knock on the business or the practices of Al Heyman or PBC. And I was alluding to Terrence Crawford. He fought once a year when he was with Bob Arum at minimum in his last 3 fights. So it has nothing to do with, oh man, PBC, they just messing up the business because their fighters fight once a year. No. For whatever reason, their fighters fight once. Their fighters, when I say fighters, let me be clear, they're champions. Fight once a year. There's nothing wrong with it. So, hey, I just want to make sure that everybody was clear on that. Because here's the thing. We haven't seen somebody like a Ryan Garcia fight more than once. When the last time you seen Ryan Garcia fight 3 times in 1 year? I'm just asking a question. We seen Tank Davis fight in January and in April. He might fight again this year, Tank Davis, but who knows? But it's not a mandatory thing. That's what I'm getting at. It's not mandatory that these guys have to fight more than once. It's not mandatory. They do have to fight once in a year's time. That's mandatory. Okay? So I wanted to put that out there so we all can be on the same page with that. Ask me a question. This is the Ask Manager Marty part. I haven't done this in a while. And I'm not disagreeing that it shouldn't be more than once a year. I'm just saying that just because PBC and Al Heyman didn't have their top champions or any champion fight does not mean that it's a criticism or knock on them. Anybody have any questions real quick? Come on, let's talk right now. I ain't gonna hold you all too long today. Ask Manager Marty. Shoot your questions out there. Come on, let's go. I'm trying to get my energy back. Let's go. Any questions? It has to be related to boxing, by the way. Any business-related questions to boxing? Any sport of boxing-related questions? Ask me. Let's go. Anybody any questions? If you don't, that's cool. No big deal. I'm just flying off the cuff. No script. We unscripted over here, man. No questions? No one? Okay, cool. No problem. Well, I got a question. Let's nip it in the bud, can we? I got a question. Does the truth really hurts? Does it? We need answers. We do. We did our Truth Hurts and Nip It in the Bud round 4 segment which I published, and it's how it looks. Oh, wait, hold up. Somebody did ask me a question. Hold on. Hold on. I got several questions. Oh, wait a minute. All right, wait, Manager Marty. Let's go back to the. Hold on now. Let's get back to the comment section. Here we go. All right. Now, y'all know usually, typically, when we do our Ask Manager Marty segment, now most of you might not know this because you might not have been a part of the Roll the Tape Film Crew membership early on. A few months. When I say early on, I mean early on as me being a content creator months ago. So typically, when we do the Ask Manager Marty segment, I utilize that opportunity to allow people to ask questions, get legitimate answers to it, but also at the same time, because the questions are boxing related, in exchange, people would donate to the either Cash App and or the Super Chat. But today we're going to do a little different. We're letting our hair down today. Everything's cool. It's a Monday. So we're relaxing today. Maybe another time we'll do that. But let's go to the first question. And I want to start doing this. Yes, I want to give the opportunity for people to financially contribute to the channel. But I also want to do this because we have new viewership all across the world. We have new subscribers. We have a new audience that's always collectively joining in on the channel. I'm talking about viewership. So I want to make sure that I'm being creative and unique at all times. Because even though people are not in the chat, I believe that they're watching. Any people. It's all good. We all can learn from each other. So I'm going to read some questions. I'm not going to get all of them. I'm get a few. I got one. How do you feel about the sanctioning bodies? That's a question. How do I feel about the sanctioning bodies? I feel like they're a business, an organization. That's how I feel about them. They're just an organization. I don't know what they actually do with the fighters' 2 to 3% purses. I'm not sure. But I understand why there is a need for some regulation. Some regulation. So the sanctioning bodies, to me, they do have a reason to be in the sport. I don't know what other alternative methods they would use if they don't collect any fees from the world champions that represent their organization. I don't know about that, because that ever since they've been established, it's been like that ever since, and I doubt that's ever going to change. So I just feel like, hey, they're a business. It shouldn't be too many belts, but they're a business, and this is what happens in business. So, I mean, it's beyond our control at this point. So I just chalk it up as, hey, it's just business. Who you think Bud should fight next? I think Bud should fight Boots next. I do. I think he should fight Jerron Boots Ennis next. Both guys are coming off of major wins. They both undefeated. Let them fight. Because I don't think Errol Spence is going to be ready to fight in a rematch in December. Me personally. Not because he's not determined, not because he's not committed to his craft, but because he might need more time off. He's coming off of a long layoff. And he went into this fight. Beginning of 2024 sometime, yes, I say let them get it on if Boots and Bud can't get it on. So That's my take. If Bud can't fight Spence next, Boots should be next. Someone asked me if you had to bet your last on one fighter, no matter the opponent, who would it be? If I had to bet my last, Floyd Mayweather. If I had to bet my last on one fighter, no matter who the opponent is, or no matter who the opponent would be, I would have to say Floyd Mayweather. Money May. Floyd Mayweather. Absolutely. Salute my brother BVO is in the building. Welcome to BVO, my guy. He's family as well. Make sure when y'all finish this segment, and I said it about detail, y'all can do it with BVO. Uh, yeah. Make sure y'all subscribe to BVO's channel. Speaking of BVO, since he's here, hey BVO, the link in the chat real quick, man. You want to come on through? Come on through. I know D-Town was here too. D-Town, if you want to come on in, come on through. I want to ask both of you guys a question about something. If y'all here, if you want to come up, BVO and D-Town, if D-Town's still here. BVO asked me, why don't I cover Tio, big bro? Who, Teofimo Lopez? I covered Tio before. I covered Teofimo Lopez. Yeah, it was earlier, a couple months ago though. I don't have no problem with covering Tio or BVO. Yeah, absolutely. I'm just not gonna cover like the um the controversy that he had with individuals. You know, when he talked about black fighters and this and that, because I have my own reservations about that. But anything else that's business related, boxing related on TO, yeah, basically I'm not really commenting on the antics. Now, if they make sense, then yes, I'll help translate them for some people. But yeah, I don't have nothing against TO, man. Not at all. One more question. Marty, are you looking forward to Devin Haney versus Regis Prograis this year in November or October? If Devin can't fight Regis, who would you like to see Devin fight? And would you like Devin versus Tio? No. So I'm not really looking forward to the Devin Regis fight this year, only because I think that Devin should fight Tank next. And I've been saying that way before he even fought Loma. Meaning that after he fought Loma and won, his next fight should be Tank Davis. Because his dad, Bill Haney, was talking extremely reckless, extremely greasy. Tank Davis was talking extremely greasy. And it's like, y'all did all this talking, and now we're here. So, no, we don't want you to go scouting people and watching them fight and see how they look. Nope. Tank Davis. Both guys been talking through the media back and forth, back and forth, back and forth for months now, for years. Not This is not something new. Now that y'all both free, get it on. That's what I say. They fought a month apart. Tank fought in April. Devin fought in May. So now go ahead and fight Tank. My take. It's my take on that. But I will watch and probably cover that fight between Devin and Regis. I'm not fully opposed to it. I would just rather for Devin Haney to fight Tank Davis. That's just my assessment. Devin versus Teofimo. Hmm. They get that on. That might be a good fight. We shall see. Might be a good fight. My phone was on mute. Sorry, everybody. I don't know if y'all heard anything I said. I think I hit the mute button by accident. Carlos Watts, thank you for your support and your contribution to the channel. Carlos Watts says, who is the top main oversight committee or organization that ensures or assures that fighters and the sport is held to its highest standard, if any? Very good question, Carlos Watts. I would say the main committee or organization that assures that the fighters and the sport is held to the highest standard is the local boxing athletic commissions that provide the licensings for the boxers and the managers and professional trainers and the referee and the judges and the timekeeper and the promoter. So the main oversight organization are the local state athletic commissions. And they do have bylaws, rules, and regulations. Good question. Salute, Bird. Thank you for your contribution and your support to the channel. Yep. Oh, family is in the building. What I tell you when I see family, what I do? I stop the segment no matter where it's at. Because hey, got to acknowledge the family. I got to do that. My guy Lump. My main man Pots and Pan family. My man Lump in the chat. That was what we're going to be talking about now, Lump. Should Spence fight Crawford in December? That's the question that I actually have on the table, and I'm trying to put it together in the nip it in the bud frame. Matter of fact, the link has been flying all through the chat, and that's the link to join in. And we have an Errol Spence fan here and a Terence Crawford fan here. So why not? Let's talk about it. Should they both do a rematch in December? Let's talk about it right now. Link in the chat. Lump, you can come up too, Lump. Either way. I put the link in the chat for my man D-Town and BVO. They want to come up too. Let's get it in. Let's talk about it. Yes, indeed. Why not? Let's talk about it. Should Crawford and Spence rematch in December? That's the question on the floor today. Oh, the link not in the chat? Hold up for a minute. Hold up, put it in the chat. It's there now. Flew the link right in the chat. Now it's there. All this time I thought it was in the chat. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm calling for BVO and them. I ain't even see. Yeah, BVO, D-Town, Lump. Come on through. Let's talk about it. Why not? Trying to pin it to the top, but it's not cooperating. Well, it's in the chats. Link in the chat. So anybody want to come up. Don't matter who you are, nip it in the bud as a Terrence Ball Crawford fan or the truth hurts as an Errol Spence fan. We ain't gonna hold you too long. Link in the chat if you want to come up. If not, that's all good. Dang, that was my bad. All that time I thought dang, that was my fault, y'all. Well, the link's still in the chat. So it is what it is. Hold on 1 second. Um Bud is top 5. I see your logo in the background. If you can, please turn your camera on so that I can see. There you go. I will let you join the stream. Let me set it up properly. Give me 1 second. Link is still in the chat. Make sure we do this respectfully and show my face like I always do. We have Bud is top 5 is here. You might know him as Jamal Neasy. I believe he has been on this panel before. We respect him as a Crawford fan, and he made some interesting points the last time he was here, and he's always in the chat. And so we're glad to have him back here now.
You hear me? Peace, bro.
Oh, I
Peace.
can hear you now. Can you hear us, sir?
I hear you clearly, yeah.
What's going on with you, Ma?
Nothing. Just been, like you said in the chat, listening to what you be saying, listening to your show.
Appreciate your support, my brother. Quick
No
question,
problem.
Ma. I'm
Yes, sir.
sorry.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
Oh, quick question. Should Errol Spence and Crawford uh
I'm sorry.
fight?
I don't know if you can hear that. I'm sorry. I'm driving and then the GPS was talking. Say it again. Sorry.
Should should Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence fight in the rematch in December before this year is out? And
Yes. They should fight again.
they should fight again. Should they fight in December before the year is out?
Oh, wow. Like I said, I'm a Bud fan, so I would hope to see Bud fight again this year before the year is out. If it's against Earl, I don't know. I don't know if he would be ready. I don't know how. Honestly, if how much time a boxer would need to after a fight like that would need to recover, train again, and then get back in the ring. So I would like to see a rematch. I don't know if it's that fight will happen at the end of this year. I'm waiting on.
Got you. I respect that. I respect that. We have Carlos Montez. I believe, Carlos, this is your first time joining the panel. We welcome Carlos. The floor is yours. How are you today, sir?
I'm good. I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Loud
sir.
and
Peace,
clear. Yes,
bro.
sir.
No, I just wanted to comment on the Spence rematch. I think that December will be too soon. Way too soon. He took a lot of punishment. He didn't look normal. He didn't look right. He took a lot of time off, and I think Bud and the team played him and played on his emotions and feelings and what he really wanted, and took total advantage of the situation. But I think he'll learn from it and be wiser and you know get it right next time.
Should they
Uh,
fight?
Take nothing away from
can you?
Bud. Bud is a great fighter.
I was gonna say no. Can you repeat what you said about taking advantage? I didn't hear that part.
As far as negotiations and as long as how bad Spence wanted to fight and wanted undisputed, and um, given all the accident, the eye surgery, and those things, I think they played on that, and did what they were supposed to do. Use every advantage and leverage they can do. They can use.
I mean, what's your take on that, Ma?
I would like to see a video clip or something if he was on this show or he have his own channel where he spoke on all those excuses he just said. That's all.
No, not excuses, just taking advantage of business and negotiation.
How? How does the B side take advantage?
In any side.
No, 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 no. Who was the
But
A side?
Bud wasn't the one calling and begging for the fight for years.
Who was the A side?
You can go to a lot of stations and channels and see where Bud said he don't need Spence. He can retire this right now. He can do what he wants and be legendary. And
That's
he
that's
knew that he was already undisputed once.
that's
So
fair.
Spence, he wanted undisputed
That's
also. So with
that's
that
fair.
type of
What you now?
leverage,
That's
Bud
fair.
had that leverage of
That's
undisputed,
fair. What
and he used it. Let me finish. He used his leverage as him already having an undisputed title against Earl, who was searching for an undisputed title. That's all I'm saying.
Hey,
finish. I don't
Jamal.
want to cut in.
Oh,
I ain't want to cut in. I was trying to see what you done. I was listening to
Oh,
you.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm done.
I was
That's not taking nothing away from
now.
Bud. Bud is great. He is a great fighter.
That that's fine. That's fine. I was just asking who was the A side.
I mean, in my opinion, they both was A side. That's just in my opinion. I mean, the A side, B side, Z side. I wouldn't give a fuck what side. Excuse my language. What side they was on, but it's all fair negotiation.
Do you know exactly what happened? It took place in negotiation.
I wasn't involved in the negotiations. I can just go by what was happening as far as the fighters calling for a fight and the fighters saying what they wanted and what other fighters said that they really didn't care about that. And Bud, after the fight, told Spence, if you heard it, thank you and congratulating him. It wouldn't happen if it wasn't for you. That's what Bud told Spence.
He told Spence that we both made the fight happen.
That wasn't the original statement that he said.
Oh, you saying what he said first is what matters, supersedes anything else.
What happened was he took total advantage, like he should have in negotiation, and I think Spence learned from the negotiations the first time around. So this time around, the fight. I don't know if how the contract is going, but if I was to advise Spence, I would advise him. It would be not a good idea to go into that rematch in December.
Why not? You wouldn't pay to watch the fight? I would.
No, no, no. I'm a Spence fan, and it wouldn't
You
be.
wouldn't pay to watch him fight again.
Well, I'm an advocate for the fighters, number one, and I don't think it would be a wise decision given all this health elements and things. Yeah, he has a nice family, a good family. His mom and dad seem cool, So I'm just looking at it from that aspect. I mean, outside of my entertainment, yeah, I would love to see the fight, but I wouldn't want to. I think it would look too much like the first fight if he did it in December.
Are you saying negotiations played a part on how Spence looked in the ring?
No, 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 no. I'm not saying that.
Interesting. 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 I'm quite lost why you mentioned negotiations about, when you saw in the results in the fight.
Because everybody know that they was in negotiations, and then he popped up with a fighter out the blue. Evanesian is, we can go in circles about it, but it won't be nothing nobody ain't heard before. So
You sure you want to mention Evanesian right now?
that's neither here nor there, man. That's the past, man. Everybody know what's up with that.
Because my opinion looked like Evanesian did a better job. But that's here nor there. You don't want to see Spence fight again in December. That's what you're saying. I do. I want to see Bud Crawford fight. Period. If it's
I
against
bet you
Spence or
do.
anybody else.
Me
I don't
too.
know if Mark was about to say
I would
something.
like to see him fight
Sorry.
Boots, though. You want to see him fight Boots?
I was asking well before when negotiation fell apart last year. I was asking for Boots, not on this channel, but I was saying I was asking for him since he was like pushed up to #1 in WBO because Virgil Ortiz has been a man to say, yo, we're not ready for Crawford, and I respect that.
Boots said he
So
ready right now.
same
So if he couldn't
same
fight
potential.
Spence in December, would you like to see him fight Boots in December? Is that what you're saying?
I would like to see it. Bring him on. If the young lion want a
I,
lesson right now, bring
I
him
would like to
on.
see that. I would like to see that.
What would stop him too?
I don't know about that.
What do you mean? Why would you? Why would you say you don't know? Are you a
You got
type
a
of
young.
person?
Well, one you
Are
got
you a
young
type of?
hungry lion.
I got a question for you. Are you a type of person that argue for the majority or the minority? Hello?
What was that? Something I don't know
Are
what
you
happened. What was that?
are you a type of person? Are you a type of person that argue for the majority or the minority? That's what I'm asking.
I'm not the argumentative type of person. Period.
All right, so let me present this. If you see a record of 40 victories and 31 stoppage, are you
And
gonna
30
say
what?
more likely this person more likely gonna go the distance with this fighter other than stopping?
I didn't
Are
catch
you
the
that type
first
of
part
person?
of. I didn't catch the first
I'm
part of what you
asking
said.
you.
40.
If you see a record, a boxing record of 40
Uh-huh.
victories, 31 stoppage, right? Are you hearing me?
I heard you.
All right. 40 victories, 31 stoppage. Are you the type of person to say, the next fight this guy fight, more likely he's gonna go the distance instead of stopping him? Are you that thinks that way?
I don't know what type you're looking for, but given that if I never bear witness to any of that fighters fights, I wouldn't have no really good type of opinion or protocol or things to measure or judge them by. So I wouldn't I
Okay,
wouldn't even think about it.
sure. That's fine.
Well, hold on, Jamal. We have Mr. Terrell Barnes here. Um, he just chimed in. He's here live with us. Terrell, how you doing today, sir?
I'm at peace, brother. Thank you for allowing me in. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, sir. You are welcome, my brother. Loud and clear. We can hear you. The floor is yours.
Likewise, and to the rest of the panel, how are you brothers doing? And
Very good. Welcome to the panel.
Peace,
thank you,
bud.
sir.
Peace, bro. How you doing? All right.
Peace, Lord. And to everybody else who may be in the chat, um, yes, I've been listening to some of the discussion back and forth between the two gentlemen, or the two men, excuse me. And my take on it is somewhat congruent with Mr. What's your name, brother? Jamal Nizi, Jamal
Yes,
Nizi.
sir.
I'm
Yes, sir.
congruent with that about Spence being able to fight. But I do have some exceptions to the rule. I believe that he should change his nutritionist, and I should also believe that he should go back to Blu-ray first. Those are the things that I would consider because those were his degrees of success. But what I must offer this, man, and this is just out of dignity, has nothing to do with Spence nor Crawford, but just dignity in general. The Errol Spence that we all came to love or hate in the welterweight division, skills did not display themselves that night against Mr. Bud Crawford. And congratulatory, of course, to him and his supporters. But for everybody to just want avid fight fans or sports or Spence supporters or even Crawford supporters who actually know, and some that I know personally, that something was very strange that night in the offering of what Spence did in the ring versus Crawford. What Crawford did is he made Earl look worse than lower tier fighters that he's fought in his career. And for us to act as though our dignity is supposed to be moved to the side just simply because Bud won is preposterous in my mind. And I say this because winning can't be that important when somebody's life is on the line, whether it be Brother Bud or Errol. And for Errol to lose in such a fashion with the type of skills we know he's displayed, to be able to earn 3 belts against elite fighters that we don't even have to raise controversy against in their level of
Come on,
being a
man.
fighter. Oh,
Right.
can you hear me, Jamal?
This shit.
Sir? Jamal? I'm sorry. I think I lost the brother, but I'm gonna continue with my point.
I thought that
With
was me. That was
oh,
just all right.
what'd you say, brother? I'm sorry.
No, I saw it like it cut off, but I don't know if that was me or y'all.
Oh, yes, sir.
Go ahead,
Yes,
go
sir.
ahead,
Okay.
go ahead.
Yeah, I was just trying to see were you still there, and whomever else may be listening. It's a dignity thing, like I said prior to what transpired technically, because we cannot say that was the same Earl Spence, man. I'm sorry. Whether you love Bud and his performance or not, we just simply can't stoop that low, man. And a win is a win, and not to make excuses, because Earl is the type of brother that is very modest. He's a competitor, and he gave zero excuses. But me as a fight fan, um, I believe that both the Crawford fans and the Spence fans were robbed as to what that fight should have been in the build up and all of the things that it should have been, even to be able to have to witness a rematch from such a display of what was illustrated in the ring that night. Nobody's ever seen, even in losing, the level of expectation, nobody can tell me that the performance was supposed to be in that degree. I don't care who you're going for. Anything else in my
Uh,
out of indignity would be nonsense. Now, if they're exchanging based on their skill level, and Spence is clipped, and from clip, then he gets the hell beat out of him or something like that. Bud only prior to that fight only had 6 single punch knockouts in 40 fights. Everything else are TKOs. Spence had 7. Everything else on his resume were TKOs. So, I mean, that in light of it, man, we still have to be able to say, yeah, Bud, you did win and you did a tremendous job, and you look very well in doing it. But we can't say that was the same Errol Spence in the ring that we all came to love
Yeah.
and hate in this welterweight division, man. At the
I
end of the day,
slightly, I slightly disagree
I understand.
with some of the
It's
things
easy to disagree,
because
depending on who you may have been going for, but I'm just talking about from a dignified perspective. Um,
oh, did you see Terrence Crawford fight John Molina?
I did. I didn't see it
Now,
live, but I did go back and visit the fight, and even that fight. I mean, what about it?
I mean, it was pretty one-sided. Would you agree?
Do you think John Molina could beat Errol Spence?
They was fighting at 140, right?
They were, but so
I don't.
Bud
I
came up to 47. So I
well,
mean,
I thought
to answer your
honestly,
question though, because I don't want to be like everybody else. To answer your
thank
question,
you,
I do say it
thank
was
you.
one sided. It was one
All right.
sided, yes.
Now I'm
To
gonna
answer
answer
your
yours.
question,
Uh, I I would say I never seen John Molina fight before that,
right?
but I would even say EJ could beat him.
You would say what?
I would say EJ could beat him. Spence could
Oh,
beat him.
okay, yes, sir. And listen, not to be not to be sarcastic, but I believe EJ would have whooped his butt at any weight class. Yes,
Okay.
just the
Now
same thing what Bud did. But
Man
the
down.
re-
yeah,
the reason why. Oh, okay.
no, go ahead. I'm sorry, brother. Go ahead. Your
No, I
turn.
was saying the reason why I was giving like slightly disagreement, and the reason why I mentioned that kind of fight, I've seen this before from Bud, where he
Right,
could turn it up on somebody because it's skill level.
right,
So I came on this panel before to talk to Marty, and
right,
he kind of like laughed me off,
right.
and he was like when he mentioned Ali, and I was like, ooh, why not mention Bud to with Ali? And I said I had to worry about judges because Bud spoiled us Bud fans. I said that back then. And when I seen the turnout of the fight, I would say, yes, this is the kind of fight, this is what I wanted Bud to do to him. But I was surprised. I will admit, I was surprised that it turned out that way.
Of course you were.
Now, what was wrong?
That's admirable to even. That's admirable to even at least admit that much.
If there was something wrong with EJ, I'm not a doctor. I would not know. I'm not his nutritionist. I don't know what was going on. All I know that I seen Bud do this to somebody before. That's what I'm saying.
Right. I
Now I'm
understand.
surprised that it happened to this fighter. That's what I'm saying.
I
That's why I
concur.
had a slightly disagreement. All
I
right.
concur. However,
All right.
their skill level, I concur. But the people who you digress to did not have the skill level of elite fighters such as Errol Spence, man. That's just at the end of the day. So yeah, but I can concur with that. But I can also name some people that Earl dominated. You know what I mean? That fights better than Molina. So I mean,
Styles make fights. Man.
Styles do make fights, but Styles make fights. However, that's inexcusable. In that performance that we witnessed against in the Spence Crawford fight, that was
Right.
still.
I'm not advocating Styles make fights in that. I'm talking in that particular situation. We know skill level. We know Earl's normal skill level. We know that something wasn't right with Earl.
At least we should.
Not to take nothing away from Bud or nothing, but like you said, he's a stand-up man. He ain't gonna make excuses for, none of that.
And even
go back to the drawing board and come back and fix whatever he could fix.
And even with that narrative, Mr. Truth Hurts, I'm tired of even saying that not to take away anything from Bud. I'm sick of saying that, man. I'm really sick of saying that because it's like we have to use that a crutch in order to lend credence to Bud's performance, and at the same time say something was wrong with Spence. That's oxymoronic. That don't even go in the same sentence. So I'm really tired of saying not to take anything away from Bud. No, you can't take anything away from him. We don't even have to make that statement. The brother won, and he won in a tremendous fashion. But could he have done so even in winning with a 100% Earl Spence? I just don't believe it.
When I first
even if he'd have kicked Earl's behind all over that ring, it wouldn't, not to that degree, man. Not to that degree. It would a 100% Spence. That's
after the fight. When I first saw Marty, I said,
"Oh, excuse me."
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you was talking first. Go ahead, bro.
After the fight, I agree with what Marty was saying. Like, neither one of them looked. They both looked different to me. And then when he said that, I was just like, damn. Like, I watched the fight, and I'm like, they both just look different to me. What that different was or is, like, I can't pinpoint or call it, but it just looked different to me, both of them. Period. Because I watched their whole careers.
Right. Well,
this wasn't. It was different.
Well, when we're on these panels, we have to understand that everything is speculative and our opinion, and none of us know the actual facts. However, we can only go by what we discern from what we witnessed, if that makes sense. And so what manager Marty illustrated or displayed in Bud looking different is also an actual fact. He's never performed like that against lesser opponents. You see what I mean? that's
All right, so you just
nobody.
well,
I ain't never seen him. I've never seen him beat up nobody's face like that in 40 fights.
Little men, little guys.
Even when he was smaller. You
that's
understand?
fine.
And the guys were smaller than him.
That's fine.
Come on, man.
But
You know,
Bud
so
Crawford,
they both did. I'm sorry, Jamal. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. So they both did look different. You know, comparatively speaking, on their careers. Let's just say it like that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And what they brought to the welterweight division, man. But kudos to Bud. And yeah, I would love to see them fight again. And so what to me is in December. And I don't believe Errol needs to tune up. I believe we just need to see a 100% Earl, even in getting his backside kicked. That's all I would like to see.
Are you
I mean,
suggesting?
I was looking at
He's
Earl's
not?
level. I was looking at Earl's level of punch resistance just in the second round to go down with a 1-2. Man, that was unheard of. Man, I never saw. Man, I'm not buying that. I mean,
Well,
something was wrong with
but
that brother, man. It's just simple as that to me. You know.
I had a
Bud
question
Crawford.
real quick. Hey Jamal, hold on 1 second. Let
Sure.
me salute. I see there are women in the chat, and
Yes, sir.
I know the women are watching all around the world. And y'all know me. Y'all been on
Yes,
the panel.
sir.
Some of y'all,
Pay
and you know
homage,
me in
brother.
the chat. I
That's right.
always want to salute the ladies and the women that support the sport of boxing and support this channel.
Yes, sir.
So to all the women and ladies that are watching live in living color right now and engaging in the chat, I want to say salute to you all, you queens. We thank you for your support and your contribution to the sport of boxing and even this channel, ladies. Thank you so much. Jamal, I had a quick question, and I got my family Detail Boxing here, but before I introduce Detail,
Shout out D-Town.
Jamal, I have a question for you. You are a Bud fan, and when Mr. Terrell made a statement that echoed my sentiments, that Spence looked different, I heard you saying things in the background. Are you saying that that was a 100% Errol Spence in your opinion as a Bud fan?
I don't have no reason why not to believe that he didn't train 100%. So why
No,
wouldn't I believe him?
no. Let me reframe the question. I'm not asking about his training regimen. Was he training 100%? I'm talking about the skill set, the level of, propensity, intensity, the level of accuracy, just his style that we're accustomed to seeing him fight in the last maybe 5 or 10 fights.
Right.
Are you saying that that was a 100% performed Errol Spence Jr. in your opinion?
I'm gonna say no because he said out his mouth himself that he was he felt seconds
His
behind.
timing was off. Yeah.
His time is off.
Yes, sir.
But we also heard Bud Crawford say that this was his hardest training camp. So he trained extremely hard because he respected the level of opponent that he was facing. That's why I said Earl Spence came in training at a level. Now we're talking about after the fact. I'm talking about before. He was coming 100%. He signed a contract. They were showing all access that this man was working out. Bud Crawford was working out. So I looked at it as these guys taking each other serious. So that's my mindset on that.
Right.
So
Yeah,
when you
I'm
say
not.
okay.
So no, hear me out, Jamal. I'm just asking from your perspective as a Crawford fan, because I've had several Crawford fans join this panel within the last 2.5 weeks, and every Crawford fan that joined this panel
Dodge
told
that
me
question.
that Spence looked 100% the same to them. So I was
Right.
asking you as a Bud fan, did he look 100% to you? And I'm not talking about after the fight. And when Spence said it at the post fight, I'm talking about while the fight was actually happening live and living color. Did you see like this don't look like Spence, or did you think to yourself as a Crawford fan, yeah, this is the 100% Spence, and Crawford's just dominating?
Something, man, right?
Well, I would say he looked like himself leading up to the knockdown. After that, I don't know if that made him fucked up. Excuse me, I didn't mean to curse.
No, it's all right, brother. You talking? It's good.
Yeah. I don't think he after the knockdown. I don't know how that fucked him up throughout the whole fight because that ain't my vision. I was amped up. My heart was racing. I was like, yes, they finally in the ring. First round. I gave the first round to Spence because he was active more. And Bud was doing his normal, taking pictures and like checking them out. When I was seeing breakdowns and rewatching the fight, Earl was doing his normal stuff. When he parries, he blocked certain shots. He's coming in with his jabs and stuff. But he wasn't getting off the line, following what he said after the fight that his timing was off. But he still had his muscle memory of blocking and jabbing and what he was trying to do to Bud. Bud, to his degree, he worked out. He the one that's able to take and figure him out. So, he did his job.
What was
Yeah,
happening in the whole fight? Hey Jamal, what was happening in the whole fight was when Spence said his timing was off, in his head and in his mind, he does this all the time. He's been doing this whole career, but for some reason, what he was trying to execute was late. In his head, he was saying he was doing it, but it was just coming up too late. And that's sort of time. I think he had a lot going on physically, mentally, and medically. That's my personal opinion. His timing was definitely off. His equilibrium, his balance. I mean, Bud pushing him, he looked like he was I don't know. He just looked wobbly. He didn't look right. His face was red to me at the beginning. Like as soon as he came in the ring, I said, "Why is his face red?"
Listen. That's fine. I agree. He looked it off. But are you saying that's how he looked round one? Because I answered your question honestly. Is that what you're saying round one until the knockdown?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, okay, go ahead, Terrell, and then I'll answer, and I'll get details perspective. Go ahead, Terrell.
Oh, okay. It's your show, sir, but so I'm definitely grateful for the permission.
Go ahead, bro. You got it, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I'm gonna say, Mr. Jamal, yes, because I was sitting watching with my son, my oldest son, and as Earl was walking out, I told him. As a matter of fact, let me back it up. When they first showed Earl on the Jumbotron, just sitting there, I say, man, it's like, is he asleep or what's going on? I tell this to my son. And then the next frame, they show Bud hitting the mitts. But Earl was just sitting there like he was just out of there, bro. And then his walk to the ring, I told my son straight up, I say, man, something look like it's not right with Earl, man. He looks like he just woke up or something. That's what I told my oldest boy. Because I'm advocate when it comes to this guy. You know what I mean? And I love what Blu-ray does and all that. I'm talking about that's how deep I was following with this guy. So yeah, I'm gonna be paying attention to that type of thing. I want to know how you react to the music that you're coming into, how you gonna react to the crowd that's cheering your name. I'm gonna be paying attention to all of that. And likewise with Bud, I was watching the same thing with this brother. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, to answer your question for me personally, yes, I considered that before the first punch was thrown.
Yeah, me personally, and I may have made a reference about this before in my reaction. I think that was 2 Mondays ago. I had made a reference to my reaction to it. I was there live. Everybody on the panel might know this. People in the chat know this. People watching all around the world know I was physically there at the fight, and I was sitting relatively close. And what happened was when they were showing the fighters on the Jumbotron, all the fans were going crazy. When they showed Spence, the fans was going crazy. We didn't know what people was going crazy for, so naturally, the first thing I did was I looked up. Jumbotron, you look up. I'm not sitting all the way high now. I'm sitting low. I look up and I see Errol Spence sitting in the chair.
Yeah.
And from a manager's perspective, and as a manager, I've been in the back in locker rooms with fighters that I represent and even fighters that fought on cards, and I was still able to have the credentials to be in the back. And when I looked up and I saw Spence sitting in the chair, this is my honest opinion. I actually thought that he took a power nap, like he had just woke up from a short nap.
Absolutely.
That's what I think, because I've seen fighters in the back in the dressing room doze off a little bit because time they be waiting till their time to come out and fight, and it do be kind of taking a little long, But I actually thought he, just was taking. He had just woken from a little power nap. I didn't think nothing was wrong with him. I just thought like, oh, damn, he looked like he just, he woke up from a little power nap. He took a little nap or whatever. And when he came out, I didn't see the jumbotron. I was focusing on, the hype was there. Everybody and their grandmom and grandpa was at that fight. So it was pandemonium in that building. So I wasn't
Yes, it
thinking about
was.
looking at the jumbotron to see him walking out with the artists and rapping and all of that. I wanted to get all of that live experience, coming out. And I still didn't think nothing was wrong. But before, and I said this on my channel, Jamal Neezy, two Mondays ago, before one punch was thrown, I knew something was off with Spence. If you watch my channel long enough, you will discover that I always say the first thing I look at fighters when they have long layoffs or when they're up in age is their legs. And when I saw Spence's legs before a punch was even thrown, I did not like what I was seeing with his legs. When he got dropped the first time, and I'm going to say this right now. This is the first time I ever publicly said this, but I'm only going to use this as a reference because sometimes as content creators, we share the same audience. BFTB, most of you know who he is. He was sitting not directly next to me. He was sitting, there was somebody else that I know was sitting in between. So I was sitting here, the person that I knew, and BFTB was sitting right next to them. And when Crawford dropped Spence the first time, I looked dead at BFTB and I said something to him. Me and BFTB was in shock. We were stunned, actually. We were literally stunned because
Wow.
I never seen Crawford drop nobody that early, nor with that 1-2 like that. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. But at the same time, when Spence got up, I was like, I knew his legs wasn't there. That was a fast knockdown because his legs wasn't there in the beginning.
That's right.
And as the fight wore on, I start seeing both of them look extremely different. And when I say extremely, I mean obviously different,
Yes.
performance-wise, based on what I'm used to seeing from
Right.
Crawford and based on what I'm used to seeing in Spence. And I'm going back their last 10 fights.
Yes,
We ain't
sir.
even got to go back the last 2. We can go all the way back to the last 10. And when he
Yes.
dropped Spence in the 4th and Spence got up extremely hurt, I looked at BFTB. If you want to go ask him, I'm sure BFTB will not repeat what I said to him privately. But I looked at BFTB and I said something to BFTB about the 4th knockdown, the 4th round knockdown, the 7th, and then when it was over in the 9th, I was completely stunned. So I knew that something was off from Spence. That's my take on it. Detail boxing. I got detail here. Now I'm not putting you on the spot, detail, but if you can just at least if you can at least nod your head with me, detail, if you want, bro. When the fight was over and the team and the T-Mobile Arena was letting people out, the first person that I called on the phone was Detail Boxing. I'm not gonna repeat what I told Detail, but Detail, can you at least affirm that I called you when the fight was over? I called the brother right on the phone. And
Wow.
BFTB was right there. I said, Detail, we gotta have a conversation, bro.
Ooh-wee.
I'ma leave it like that. Detail, the floor is yours, bro.
Salute to everybody, all my brothers
Salute,
here
sir.
on the panel. Salute to my brother manager Marty. We always talking, and also to my other brother Jamal. Salute to
LP.
Jamal. Yeah, I was supposed to go live. Me and him had a bet that if I lost, he would go live on my channel. So we live right now, and I still will do the same thing like I said before, Jamal. So salute to you and all my brothers here, and salute to every last one of y'all. But yeah, I seen something wrong with Earl Spence in the first round. And I follow Earl Spence a lot. Matter of fact, I took a picture with Earl Spence a long time ago. Me and him have a mutual friend. Me and Earl Spence. Matter of fact, his friend. He was there. I got a picture of him holding up the belts before Earl Spence went out. He was in the back room, and he had called me. You know what I'm saying? And but regardless, I did see something wrong with Earl Spence, and it takes an actual fan of Earl Spence to notice. I'm not talking to somebody who watch. See, some people, they not actually watching Earl Spence fight. They're looking for things to criticize Earl Spence about. So when some people say, well, you know what? I watch Earl Spence fights. Now, are you really watching it? Are you watching it for him, or are you watching or looking for something to criticize Errol Spence about. So it's a difference in between looking and and really paying attention to Errol Spence. So an actual Errol Spence fan will see the difference between or what happened between Errol Spence the night of the fight with Terrence Crawford and other previous fights that Errol Spence had. And me and my wife was actually watching that fight. And I told my wife in the first round, even though they gave Errol Spence that first round, I told my wife, that's not Errol Spence right there. I said, that ain't him. I say, Errol Spence ain't blocking. This man ain't doing nothing. He looked like an amateur jumped in the ring with Terrence Crawford. And I know for a fact that something was wrong with Errol Spence. If you listen to what Errol Spence said after the fight, when he was up on the stage, him and his coach, Derrick James, and Terrence Crawford and Bomac, he said that Terrence Crawford came ready and he was at 100%. Errol Spence never said he was at 100%. I understand that Errol Spence didn't want to go into great details about what happened with him, but Errol Spence never said, I was 100%, I just slipped up. He never said those things. So you got to pay attention to what he's saying and read in between the lines. But anybody that know Errol Spence know that Errol Spence was not that same Errol Spence, because Terrence Crawford didn't stop Errol Spence from doing his game plan. Errol Spence stopped his own self. See, Errol Spence was fighting against himself and Terrence Crawford in that ring. Terrence Crawford looked strong because Errol Spence looked weak. Terrence Crawford looked fast because Errol Spence looked slow. You know what I'm saying? Everything that Terrence Crawford looked like, it was because Errol Spence, looked worse in that fight. He didn't look good in that fight. Now, I'm not taking anything from Terrence Crawford. His game plan was to go in there and beat Errol Spence any means necessary. That was his plan. They're not worried about Errol Spence signed a contract to fight Terrence Crawford at 147. That don't have nothing to do with Bomac or Terrence Crawford. And we know the reason why Errol Spence signed a contract at 147 is because he wanted to be undisputed. And Errol Spence knew the risk of fighting Terrence Crawford at 147. He knew the risk, but he tried to do the unthinkable so he could become the first undisputed champion in the four-belt era at 147. He knew the risk. He was talking about the weight issue way back with Mikey Garcia. You know what I'm saying? So, and I also listened to an interview with Terrence Crawford. He said that the fight happened. He said when he fought Errol Spence, it was at the right time. You know what I'm saying? So I believe they knew that Errol Spence had a problem with making weight. You know what I'm saying? I believe that he could have fought Errol Spence at the end of 2022, but he went off and did what he did. But a long story short, that Terrence Crawford looked the way he looked because Errol Spence couldn't implement the game plan that they had. And it wasn't nothing that Terrence Crawford did to stop Errol Spence. It was Errol Spence stopped his own self.
I salute to you, D-Town, as well, brother. I also subscribe to your channel. I would like to add this just a little bit. I've heard two interviews. Finally, one from Derrick James after the Anthony Joshua fight, and he made mention, and I'm paraphrasing, that Earl looked as though he was in quicksand. And another interview I saw with Blu-ray on a talk show that is popular here in Texas, talking about the degree of when he's training all of his clients, that he's also a nutritionist and helps them along the way via the nutrition, etc. I put something on D-Town's page in his comment section weeks ago after the fight, and I was mentioning the nutritionist and the dietitian and whoever rehydrated the brother, that my advocacy of the importance of knowing about food, and when you are using it, Blu-ray mentioned that there's ways you can come down to weight without harming yourself with the food alone, along with what you're doing with the training, that you don't get drained. He said he don't understand how fighters get like that. Those were his sentiments. And me, I'm a follower of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We have a program that's called One Meal a Day. And I know the importance of how food can vitalize, how you have food that is designed for the brain, your functions, your stamina, your energy, and all of the above to make you 100%, to make you great. So to make sure that you have all of the essentials that the body need to perform to your highest peak. And by stating to the world that I have a nutritionist and a dietitian and someone to rehydrate me properly, and you come out looking like that, it was likened unto a man being induced or in a drunken state, wanting to do something, but you can't do it because you're induced. If you get my drift. And not just to bleed out a whole nother narrative, but it's, to me, we're overlooking some things that's in this fight game, such as nutrition and those things like that get you ready in the training. We didn't criticize Derek James. We didn't criticize what the cut man said in the interview. We didn't criticize Earl, but nobody's talked about the dietitian. Nobody's talked about the nutritionist and why whatever it is that they did allowed him to come out and perform in such a manner when it's supposed to be the opposite of that. You're supposed to be like clockwork when you have professionals like this on your team, or strength and management trainers, and all of these things, man. I'm gonna point in those directions because Earl, physically, when you look at him, looked very good, cuts and all of that. You know what I mean? Like when we were looking at the epilogues and all of those things, that were lending credence to how well the brother looked and some of the things he said he had to perform because of what they like to see on camera and all of this. But come on, man, the night of the fight, man, was disheartening, man. As a boxing fan, as a man that's trying to display dignity, I don't care who you going for. And shout out to you, Jamal, for at least being one of the few fight fans and Bud Crawford supporters to admit what you admitted and to answer directly Manager Marty's question. So shout out to you for that, brother. Even being a Buds fan, let me be the one to let you tell you, man, I appreciate that. It didn't even take an argument after you got through talking, So shout out to you for that as well, brother.
Yes, sir. Let me get this super chat, and then I do want to pose a question to each of the panelists here. Antisocial 214 Texas. I know that area code very well.
Absolutely.
Thank you for your contribution and your support to the channel. Antisocial 214 says, look at Crawford's gloves. I really wasn't going to speak on the gloves. We got Detailed Boxing here. I believe I saw a video on his channel where he had a reference of Derek James swiftly but cunningly trying to fill the padding portion of Terrence Bud Crawford's gloves. Before I go there, let me ask my question to the panelists, because I see that Jamal Neasy is a Crawford fan here. Let me start with him, and I'll work my way on up to you guys. Jamal, you are aware that Terrence Crawford, in his last 3 fights, including the Spence fight, speaking of nutrition and strength and conditioning, you know that he is a part of the snack program with Victor Conti, correct?
I heard a rumor. I don't know.
You don't know?
Yeah, I don't know. Like as if you know. I just heard rumors that he is.
Oh, okay, I got you. If I told you that I had evidence that he is a part of the snack program, which is legal, let me put that out there. It's legal. Supplements and nutritious benefits and all those things that enhance performances, gain muscle, lose body weight, lose body fat, all the ingredients in snack. If I told you that he was on it, we have evidence that he is a part of the program. How would that make you feel if that enhanced his performance against Spence?
It make me think that he's a smart man. He's using all the tools against a fighter he deemed to be elite. That you just put that up there to read.
Yeah, no, I'm just putting it up there for the
audience.
all
right.
Yeah, for the audience. We can still hear you, brother.
All right, I just think that that he's taking all the avenues, taking every insight to be prepared to fight against people that he respects, and then to get in that ring and defeat them. He thought, as I thought, maybe possibly once he tangled with EJ, this possibly his dance partner, and he's still, my opinion, he's still out there searching, as we spoke one-on-one before.
Yeah. So I just pointed this up because some people wasn't here.
Sorry, I didn't read it, so I'm gonna start reading it.
No, I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it now. I just wanted to point it out because of what snack benefit does. Most people may not know who snack is. I have a lot of people, Jamal, who are elementary when it comes to the boxing knowledge. So I don't just have avid, hardcore boxing fans that's watch this channel. It'd be people that don't understand. You know what I mean? So when I say snack, I don't want them to think I'm talking about a butterscotch crimpet. When I say snack, I want them to understand I'm talking about the nutritious program that Victor Conti has. It's a legal program, but this is a screenshot from their Instagram page called Snack System, and it reads these words: Victor Conti's Sports Nutrition Company. Snack offers products that improve your level of fitness, help lose fat, build muscle, and enhance performance. Their words, not mine. So that's what made me ask you, if it enhanced Crawford's performance, would you give more credence to that being a determining factor as well as Crawford's skills that it took to defeat Errol Spence Jr.?
It took whatever Crawford did to get ready for this fight.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just want to know what your perspective is, because when I bring this up to certain when I bring it up to certain Bud Crawford fans that came on this panel, they were basically accusing me of insinuating something, when I just want to get your perspective as a fan, where Snack says on their Instagram page that the products that they offer will help basically performance enhancement. It said those two words. And that's why, I wanted to ask you, because we did see Crawford look extremely different. In fact, he looked better in this fight than he did in the last 39 other fights, in my personal opinion. And it was a good job that he did. And I'm sure if he had problems with his weight or whatever the situation was, and Spence had him in front of him, Spence would have took him out and did basically the same thing to him. So he shouldn't get discredited. Huh?
I had a question. I just wanted to say that after you're done.
Okay, yeah. I was just saying Spence would have just took him out the same way. So we can't discredit Crawford for that being the case. And I'm here to answer your question, my brother.
Are you? Well, it's probably like two questions. Are you saying that Spence never fought anybody that been on this program?
I don't know if he fought anybody that's been on the program or not. I'm not sure.
Mikey Garcia.
Oh, Mikey Garcia. I forgot. Yes, Mikey Garcia was in the snack program. I'm not sure if he was on the snack program when he fought Errol Spence or not, but I know he was on the snack program at one point in time. Yes.
So, well, he won that fight. So I don't know if it actually is a deciding factor, since he fought somebody and had a victory against. So I don't know.
Well, Spence was not 50% in that fight when he fought Mikey Garcia either. So we got to include that element as well if we're going to do that.
Yeah, how did y'all see him defeating Mike? It was a split decision, one way decided.
Well, me personally, I didn't really give a lot of credit to Spence for that win. I gave him credit because Mikey Garcia is undefeated, and I believe he is a Hall of Famer, hands down. In my personal opinion, I love Mikey Garcia, but I think that Mikey Garcia was a little bit too smaller for the weight when he fought Spence, and it was a good business move, as far as business is concerned. But at the same time, I mean, he was still a smaller guy. So that's Crawford right there, Jamal Neezy, on your screen there. That's Crawford with the
Top
snack
five, dead
symbol.
or alive, y'all. That's the man
Yeah,
right there.
Yeah, that's him on Instagram. That snack system actually posted him working out at their gym and the supplements and everything. That's why he's wearing the shirt. I just wanted to point that out so that you can see it. So yeah, he fought Mikey Garcia, but I don't know if Mikey Garcia was on the snack program at that time that he fought him. And even if he was, Mikey Garcia was, we know that Mikey Garcia naturally is a smaller man, moved up in weight to fight Spence. And Spence was not 50% in that fight. So that's just my
So
take on it.
so are y'all saying everybody in agreement with Spence looked different and Bud was on the program, which contributed to a lopsided victory? Is that what y'all saying?
No, I don't agree.
And gloves?
No.
All right, what do you got to say then?
Salute Marty. Salute D-Town.
Oh,
Going
that's a
on, my
different
guys.
person. Oh, what's up, Bud? Peace.
Yeah, it's more than sports. What's going on, my guys?
Peace, Motorsport.
I believe Errol Spence looked at like the normal Errol Spence.
Before you continue motorsports, the audience didn't know I just threw you into I just added you to the
Yeah.
stream. You are a Terrence Buck Crawford fan, right?
Yeah, I'm a Terry Buck Crawford fan, but I'm also a fan of boxing. Like, I love
Right,
boxing.
but you said that the last time, and I quote you when you said that last time motorsports, and we found that you Crawford. So now we got that out the way, motorsports. You really a Crawford fan, and it's okay, my brother. We caught
It
you
is.
last time,
It
so
is.
it's all good though. So you're a Crawford fan, and here's the thing, motorsports. We love you on the panel because you joined us several times before.
Yes,
So you're saying that now Jamal kept it 100 with us earlier. You wasn't here. You're saying that Errol. I'm just wanting clarity now, brother. You're saying that Errol Spence was 100% in your eyes in that fight, motorsports.
I mean, Errol Spence looked at like the same Errol Spence that I've seen with Ugas, that I've seen with Danny. I mean, though to be honest with you, it wasn't a different Errol Spence. Like, he didn't look. I don't know. He like Errol Spence is always like laid back. He's not a hyper person. So he looked at the same. He came out the same with the same tenacity. When he got knocked down in the second round, which nobody really talk about, he came back out in the third round he just was outclassed. And like,
They told
when somebody
Derek James told him to press, put more pressure. That's why
yeah,
he looked like he turned it up.
yeah,
Okay, but sorry.
I dropped a video on this, bro, and I said it right. If it's no way, and it's before the fight ever happened, it's no way Spence could have beat Bud. Under no, if you watch the fight, if you watch boxing and you watch how Errol Spence fight, and you watch how Bud fight, based on their skill set alone, there was nothing Spence could have done to beat Bud. It was nothing he could have done. He wasn't fast enough. He wasn't strong enough. Errol Spence doesn't even throw a lot of combinations. And that's being honest. He doesn't throw combinations. He doesn't throw. Spence is not an avid combination punch thrower. He's fundamentally sound. Everything comes behind his jab. Body, head, body. He does the same thing. It was nothing Errol Spence could have done to beat Bud. As watching from a straight skill set perspective, he couldn't beat Bud.
Yeah,
Errol Spence was the same guy. I mean, he was the same guy.
Terrell Barnes, you're shaking your head no when he said that he looked the same. I mean, what's your take on it? Because Motorsports said he looked the same as far as like the old Errol Spence that we all accustomed to seeing. You was shaking your head no though. What? Why?
Emphatically, brother Motorsport, man, I must disagree, man, tremendously. But I can't tell you how to think. But when I first came on this panel today, I was speaking in the perspective of dignity, man. And you say you're a fight fan, a fight fan or a boxing fan, and for you not to admit, unbeknownst to myself or for whatever reason, that wasn't the same Errol Spence that we all have come to love or hate in the welterweight division, man, is really preposterous for me. And it's kind of oxymoronic because you haven't seen Bud perform like that against lesser opponents, man. And you haven't seen Earl's face be put like that against no one in 22 fights. And for you to say it was the same Earl Spence that fought Ugas, I wish it would have been, personally. And then he would have beat Earl. Oh, my goodness, brother. Hands down, hats off to you and the rest of the Crawford supporters. But we've been robbed, in my opinion, of the fight of what it should have been, even if Bud would have won. Because there's no such thing as Earl could not have beat Bud Crawford. And you already know on any given night, anything can happen in that ring, brother. Including what we witnessed with Earl Spence and Bud's performance being better than what we've seen in 40 fights from this brother. So yeah, I concur with you on that part. But to say that that was the 100% Earl Spence that you was expecting to fight Bud that came into that ring, brother, I don't even believe you think you believe that. But I have to roll with what you say because they are your words.
Listen, I didn't say that Errol Spence was 100% himself. The old Errol
But that was
Spence,
the
no.
question.
No,
But
I
that was
said
the
Errol
question for
Spence.
Mark.
All right, but I said no. And I'm gonna repeat exactly what I said. I said Errol Spence looked at the same way he looked at with Danny Garcia and Ugas. I did not say that Errol Spence looked the same as old Errol Spence that we seen fighting Sean Porter and we seen going through them wars. I said the same Errol Spence that was fighting Danny Garcia and Ugas was the same Errol Spence that showed up on the fight night to fight Terrence Crawford.
Right.
Which
And
is
I wish it
two
would have
different.
been.
And in both of those fights, right, the Danny Garcia and Ugas fight, right,
Yes.
Errol Spence made a mistake in both of those fights, like a total rookie mistake that like not to make. Like I'm teaching that to my 12-year-old son that we train boxing,
Protect
like
yourself at
protect
all
yourself at
times.
all times.
Gotcha.
Those was lapses and like those was lapses in his judgment. I really believe that he has lingering effects. You get what I'm saying? From
I
that
do.
tremendous car accident, and then on top of you having tremendous effects from a car accident, you're depleting your body because you're naturally a bigger fighter, which I've been saying. I've been saying this about Errol Spence before he got in the ring with Crawford, that he was too big for the weight class. He's too big for the weight class, and he still has lingering effects from the car crash. So
So you know what,
no,
Motorsport? Then if that's the case, if what you are saying as a Crawford fan is the case,
mhm.
uh, and hey, listen, I'm not criticizing your perspective. I appreciate it. What I'm saying is looking at it from the outside looking in. When I hear a Crawford fan say, I told y'all this car accident was going to catch up to him, the effects of it. I told y'all he was drinking all the time. I told y'all he was not living a lifestyle. If you say that,
Means Bud
you
needs some help.
actually are, in essence, discrediting the win for Terrence Bud Crawford
Yeah.
because this is what you're supposed to do. Crawford was supposed to do this to a drunk man, a man who had lingering effects from a car accident, a man who had lingering effects from an eye retina. See,
Come
that's
on
what he's
now.
supposed to do. So if you say this as a fan, unfortunately, it's like you're taking a win away from Crawford because this is what he was supposed to do. So basically,
Actually, yeah. Actually, Marty, it's not taking away from him because I'm just pointing out what is known. Like you get what I'm saying? He came back from those things. Those things he came back from and he defeated two good fighters. I mean, two good fighters that had losses and people knew how to beat them already, but he fought two good fighters that came back. And out of his mouth, he was 100%. Now that doesn't mean my opinion takes away from Crawford win because that man got in the ring. He got reviewed by a doctor before the fight, and I'm pretty sure he got reviewed for the doctor about after the fight. He stepped in that ring. So you was who you was when you were in that ring. There's nothing that I can say yo, you lost because you was at 147. You lost because you were depleted. No, you lost, period. Like all those things we know happened. We know you were too big for the weight class. We know you had an accident. But that still don't play no part until you get into this ring and fight in Terrence Crawford. It doesn't play no part. And I'm sorry. It's sorry because you jumped back in the ring. This is a
Well,
barbaric sport. It's no time for all that.
Motorsport, sir. You said they fought two great fighters, Danny Garcia and Ugas. Yeah, two great fighters that both beat Terrence Crawford at the age of 18 and 19. Yes, they were good fighters. I'm glad you brought both of their names up. Excuse me?
No, I was just laughing. You said Danny Garcia and Ugas beat
In the
Terrence
amateurs
Crawford.
at 18, at
And
the age of 18 and 19.
yeah, but
So
we
now watch
both
this. Hold
know Danny
on. I didn't
Garcia
mean
ran
I
for
didn't mean
140, and Ugas didn't get the chance to fight Bud because Errol Spence took the fight. So
Ugas beat
when
him
you say
twice.
that in the amateurs though,
Right.
that's not pro.
Okay, but you went back in time, so I just thought since you brought those two names up, I wanted to add that to the narrative. But also Motorsport, you said that he doesn't fight in combination. No, he don't have that wishy-washy flash, but no other welterweight in the division, man, throws more punches than this brother per round. And see, we
I
just
agree.
overlook so many things, man, that diminishes the Errol Spence just because he lost. That's totally unfair to this guy, man. Even if you do like Bud that way, this is totally unfair to be making these type of statements and comments. You know,
Wait a minute. You said fair?
I didn't take nothing from Errol Spence.
FAIR, yes, sir, fair to Earl Spence. I'm saying because as a boxer, I mean,
I had a question.
You understand? As a boxer, yeah, to Earl Spence as a boxer, because he's the one who lit up the welterweight division, leading all the way up to that Crawford fight. The man had 3 belts against elite fighters.
Elite fighters?
That's your
Absolutely. Kell Brook was
I didn't poison my mind with that way of thinking. Man.
Okay, brother, they were champions, brother. All 3 of those men were champions. And they
so you
didn't
never heard of a paper champion?
Excuse me?
You never heard of a paper champion? A placeholder belt holding champion?
Well, that was also the title of Bud Crawford as a paper champion, bro. His resume
still is today.
His resume before Earl, we can say he was a paper champion. So yeah, I've heard of the term.
What's the measurement are you using to say that EJ resume is better than Terrence? I'm curious.
Brother, that's your words. I'm saying.
No, I'm asking you.
But what measurement come into play with what I meant to say? I don't know where that comes from.
Because you're saying.
Let me tell you what I'm saying, beloved. Let me tell you what I'm saying. I'm saying that he lost to Danny Garcia and Ugas twice in the amateur because Motorsport.
Oh no!
Hold on, brother. You asked me a question. And I said that Errol Spence lit up the welterweight division even prior. His name was being known even prior to Bud even entering into the division. Earl was known as the boogeyman. Thurman ran from him, dodged him when he was trying to get the belts. Kell Brook accepted the challenge. And Kell Brook was the actual man back then when he was the IBF champion. Him and Keith Thurman were the men to talk about it that era or in that time frame in the welterweight division. And because we all know what Keith Thurman did when it came to fighting Earl back then, and then what he did in his fight with Kell Brook, man, that was a tremendous fight, brother.
So the energy he was giving Kell Brook, the energy he was giving Kell Brook before they got in that ring, you saw that energy that EJ was giving Kell Brook, right?
Of course.
He wasn't giving that to Bud Crawford. Why? Why, in your opinion?
In my opinion, brother, because I have already stated, man, that he wasn't the same Earl Spence. Now, I can't tell you the detail why. I would be speculative. I would be.
So you saying? So you saying
the Earl Spence that fought in that Kell Brook fight? I can tell you that.
So months ago.
Or they fought Peterson or all the other fighters that he's fought, Sean Porter or anybody else.
So this was your energy. This was your energy after he fought Ugas. That I don't know, man. I don't know if EJ is good for this fight to fight Crawford. Was that your energy?
Hell no. I wish it would have been the same Earl that fought Ugas. At least that. That's
so are you well, I got a question to y'all then. Are you saying the best version you've seen of EJ could beat the best version of Crawford? Whatever Crawford you think is the best version,
Anything's possible. Yes, sir.
anything's possible.
Of course
Yo,
it is,
We
detail.
brother.
need to see.
The
Of
same
course,
question to
we
you.
need to see. We need to see.
You need to
We were
see.
robbed of it that night, though, and not
We
to
need to.
admit it by anybody. Then that's a flaw on their behalf. That's in my opinion. That's my own.
I'm
And back
gonna keep
and
it
can
100. I'm gonna keep it
okay.
100. You know me. I'm gonna keep it 100. We all got our opinions. Some people say 100% Earl Spence would be the Terrence Crawford. Some people say 100% Terrence Crawford be the Earl Spence. At the end of the day, we need to see. But I can tell you that Earl Spence that was in that ring wasn't 100%. I can tell you
Period.
that. And
Period.
I'm not saying that because I'm an EJ fan. I'm saying it because I know when I watch his fights. What Terrence
Period.
Crawford did to EJ didn't have nothing to do with EJ not performing the way he's supposed to perform. Nothing. Now, some people, there's somebody saying something about, well, when Earl Spence got knocked down by Terrence Crawford. No, Earl Spence didn't look the same even in round one.
Man,
So, we're not talking about after he got knocked down. We're not talking about that. I was watching the fight. I'm talking about hardcore Earl Spence fans. I'm not talking about somebody who's seen just skip through the fights and stuff like that. I'm talking about, matter of fact, some Terrence Crawford fans commented me in my comments and told me that Earl Spence looked the same. Earl Spence fans said that. Matter of fact, I did a video showing coaches. I have seen fighters and Hall of Famers and ex-fighters all came out and said, even Sugar Shane Mosley explained what weight drain does to a fighter. And I'm just telling you what he said. He said sometimes you think about doing things that you can't do because your body is not on the same accord as your mind. So what I saw in that fight, and like I said, I'm not saying it because EJ lost, because if EJ would have did everything he did in that fight, like he did with Udonis Ugas and the other fighters, and Terrence Crawford would have still beat him, I would have said, you know what, Terrence Crawford just that man. But Earl Spence didn't even do half of the things that he did in the other fights. He wasn't blocking.
He's
Go ahead.
but even Jamal.
no, I was just gonna say he stayed his head stayed on the same line against Ugas. So I agree with Motorsports when he said he's doing the same thing fight wise. But I explained earlier that he was doing his normal combinations at round one, leading to the first knockdown. So that was my disagreement.
No, he wasn't doing that. You look at Sean Porter.
Hey, that was my opinion. Y'all have a different opinion. That's it. That's all I'm saying.
That's cool. I'm just saying, if you listen to what Sean Porter said, he said it was hard to land shots on Earl Spence because he's always doing this. Tell me in that fight with Terrence Crawford, he was doing all this right here and moving. The man wasn't doing none of that. So what I'm saying is, if you look at what in his previous fights, he was not doing that in the Terrence Crawford fight. In round one, I'm talking, they supposed to be fresh. You supposed to be fresh in round one. This man looked like he was already in round 7 or 8 in round one. When did he get winded? When was he tired? That's not Earl Spence, man. Like I say, everybody got their own opinion. I respect your opinion. We all talking, kudos or whatever. But what I'm saying is, my opinion, Earl Spence in the first round looked like he was already in the 11th, 12th round. The man looked tired already. And that's my opinion.
Tired already in the first. Okay.
He don't look like he was supposed to look. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay. All right. That's your opinion. Okay.
D-Town, prior to you coming on, brother, Jamal, in answering a question of the same thing that we're talking about with him and I, admitted that it wasn't the same Earl Spence then. So I'm hoping you're not changing your mind now, brother, because you said to me.
Wait a minute. I'm gonna say it again, and y'all all heard what I said. I said he looked like the same man round one leading to the knockdown. Yes, he looked different after the knockdown. That's what I said. That's what. Are you saying I said something different? Y'all can play back the tape.
Okay, well, even if that's what you said, I give you credit for that much, man. But
All
everybody knows the Earl Spence that we came to love or hate in this welterweight division. He gets stronger as the fight goes. Not only does he get stronger as the fight goes, brother, but I mentioned his output earlier and how he does what he does, man. I would have loved to have seen the Earl Spence that fought Ugas even enter into the wing. And you talking about how his head stayed on the line. Well, your head got to stay on the line. If my head is in your chest all night and I'm beating your body, shooting you uppercuts, I'm not really even using the jab that much. I'm punishing you because I'm on the inside. My head is in your chest. So it's no such thing as I got to be on the line. I had already wore you down. I done already broke your wheel about the 5th, 6th round. You know, so
why are you saying that? Like that was automatically what's going to happen to Bud?
no, I'm not saying that.
If
I'm
Body
not
Puncher
saying
was
that.
about to happen to him.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm using hindsight like you did and mentioning the Ugas fight. But I'm saying the energy that we saw with the Earl Spence in the Ugas fight, and you mentioned Danny Garcia as well. I would have loved to see that Earl Spence against Terrence Crawford, even in losing. This is what I'm telling you. And you admitted earlier that it wasn't the same Earl Spence, even if you say it was after the knockdown. All right. But you've never
I
seen
think I
Earl
said.
get knocked down prior to that.
Let me hear you. Let me hear you answer this question because I was saying this before you jumped on the panel.
Right. And
I was
Earl's
saying
punch resistance is way much stronger than what we witnessed that night, man.
I have a question. I have a question for you. When I was saying something before you jumped on the panel,
yes, sir.
You said you was listening to us because I was speaking to the other gentleman, and I was saying, are you the type of person if you see somebody record, it's 40-0,
right,
with 31 stoppage, are you the type of person to say, his next fight he's pretty much gonna go to a decision, or he's gonna stop somebody? What kind of person you are?
I'm the type of
person. If you see somebody 40-0, 31 stoppage, his next fight, he's going decision or stoppage. I want to know how you think when you see a record like that, a boxer of the caliber of Terrence Crawford.
Well, brother, if I may, as a boxing fan, brother, not just a supporter of Earl, but as a boxing fan, that I would have to say that would have to depend upon who he fights and the level of fighter that he's fighting. I mean, that's just common sense. I'm not gonna say he's gonna automatically do that to somebody, just like I didn't think Earl Spence would automatically do to Crawford what he did to Ugas. I wasn't expecting that. That's not what my level of expectancy was. Just because
let me test that. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Do you watch heavyweight division?
Oh my goodness, yes, sir. Man, I've been watching.
I'm
57 years old, Jamal. I've been following boxing since the 70s, brother. So yes, sir. I love the heavyweight division.
So, was you a big Tyson fan?
Not at all, but I respect what he did in the ring. I like Evander Holyfield, brother.
Okay. Was he knocking people out? Or he was just going to decisions?
In my opinion, early they were tomato cans, but yes, he was.
So, would you say when following his career and he getting in the ring with a tomato can, are you saying a caliber fighter, a high quality fighter, you saying Holyfield was going the distance and getting a decision? That's what you're saying? That's what Holyfield was doing?
In some instances, yes. But to your narrative, even Mike Tyson, as his level of competition changed, he stopped knocking people out like that and started getting knocked out. Lennox Lewis, Evander Holyfield, and even somebody we never would have imagined, Buster Douglas. So on any given night, young brother, it can happen, man.
So when you heard,
so before this question, it depends on the level of competition.
So when you heard Crawford fans saying, "Yo, it's going to be a stoppage," do you think we was delusional based on the facts?
Brother, I said that Earl was gonna stop him. Hell, what that mean? I said that Earl was gonna stop him. So what does that mean? And as a matter of fact, I said the 10th round.
Can you repeat that? Can you repeat it? Sorry. Can you repeat everything you just said? Somebody just called in. Say it again.
Okay. Yes, sir. My apologies, brother. I said, as a matter of fact, that doesn't mean anything because I said that Earl was going to stop him in the 10th round. So what does that mean? I said Earl was going to stop Crawford in the 10th round. I said that Earl would have a stoppage. So what does that mean? That don't mean anything, Jamal. With hindsight, it only means that you were right and I was wrong. But it's going to always be best on the level of competition, man. I'm not going to, because if we use that level of thinking, brother, Bud only had 6 one-punch knockouts in 40 fights. Everything else is TKOs. So this amazing punching power that we give him, where did it come from? that he was supposed to do
Sorry.
Earl the same way.
I got a call coming in. I'm sorry. I
Yes,
got a
sir,
call
brother.
coming in. I got to drop off. I'm
It was
sorry.
nice speaking
Damn.
with you, brother.
Damn. All right.
Do-
But I tell you one thing. At 154 is going to be different. I put it that way. They can add on 7 more pounds after the weigh-in. He can rehydrate back up. Let's see what happens. You know, I'm still going with EJ no matter what. No disrespect to Bud. I like Bud. As a matter of fact, I was a Terrence Crawford fan
Love
before.
Bud. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Me and my wife, we knew Terrence Crawford before we even knew Earl Spence. And the only reason why I deviated from Terrence Crawford is because the way he was moving and what he was saying at 147. That was the only reason. It's not his skill set or none of that. It's because this man was saying one thing and doing something totally different. And there's nothing wrong with building up a fight. Cool with that. I have no problem with that. But we could see clear as day that this man was saying one thing and doing something totally different. They saying that Terrence Crawford wanted to fight Earl Spence. Well, I have did a video a little bit before they met up in Oklahoma that Terrence Crawford said that the fight would happen in the future for all the marbles. And then less than a month after they met up in Oklahoma, Terrence Crawford did another interview saying it would happen in the future. So I'm just saying it's different things that I saw in Terrence Crawford that made me move on from him. Not totally, because I only went against Terrence Crawford one time, and that was against Earl Spence Jr. So some of the people in my comments, they be saying you mad and hate Terrence Crawford. No, I don't. I only went against him one time, even with the Sean Porter fight. I just wanted to see a good fight, and I, thought that Terrence Crawford was going to win. So, me personally, at 154, it's going to be a different fight. I don't see Derrick James upset. I don't see Earl Spence upset. They not worried at all. Errol Spence can't wait to go to 154 and then show the world that the game plan that they have for Terrence Crawford is going to work. Now, that's my opinion, because anything can happen. They can say I'm gonna whoop Terrence Crawford whoop Earl Spence. Terrence Crawford say he can whoop Earl Spence can whoop Terrence. I mean, it's all our opinion. But at the end of the day, Terrence Crawford got his win. We need to run it back at 154 and just see what happens. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. Your detail, salute to you. You know, we've been arguing about this fight on everywhere for like the last 2 to 3 years. But when it goes to 154, it will be worse. It would not be better for Earl, it will be worse for Earl. And the only thing I say is because Earl fights one way. He cannot fight. He cannot fight a fight with Terrence Crawford, bro. It just won't. Anything he do, you cannot pressure Terrence Crawford. A pressure fighter is not going to beat Terrence Crawford. I don't care what pressure fighter you can find. He's not going to beat Terrence Crawford.
David Ebenezer put pressure on Terrence Crawford. What was he doing? Taking it easy on David Ebenezer? Was it an exhibition? Was it an exhibition?
David Ebenezer is not only a pressure fighter, he's an awkward fighter. He's awkward. Yes, he is.
That dude tried to do a Kamehameha. I seen that dude try to throw a Super Saiyan at Terrence Crawford. Yeah, that's the only awkward thing I've seen that dude did.
Yeah,
He did like this and swung like, come on, man.
Yeah, but David Ebenezer just throws awkward punches. And that's I don't like doing that, because it's like you can't put me fighting this man and compare it to me fighting this man. It's like oranges and apples. Like, it's certain things I might have to do to get my point across with this man, and certain things I might have to do to get him. Like, you cannot compare that. So to say,
you said nobody could put pressure. You said nobody can apply pressure, and I was just showing you that David Ebenezer applied pressure. I'm not saying it's supposed to be the same fight. I'm just saying
David Ebenezer applied pressure. He got devastatedly knocked out badly.
Like, but he did apply pressure.
He's motorsports. Motorsports. Can you hear me? Motorsports. Motorsports. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, I had a question about that. I don't know if Terrell in detail. Can you guys hear me? Oh, okay. I thought something was wrong with my audio. You said that David Ebenezer got knocked out cold by Crawford. I always ask Terrence Bud Crawford fans when they bring his name up. In the welterweight division, have you ever seen Crawford knock anybody out besides David Ebenezer with the one-punch knockout power?
No, he did Jose Benavidez. Crazy. That was the one-punch uppercut that put him on his his knees.
No, not that. I mean, like one punch. David Evanesian was out. David Evanesian was knocked out conscious for over 40 seconds. Did
Yeah.
did you ever see him knock anyone out unconscious?
No,
I'm saying no.
no, but that's rare. That's rare.
To knock out David Evanesian, or you mean like what you mean?
No, to knock somebody out cold. Like it's only a couple fighters that do that on a regular basis. Knock
Yeah,
fighters out cold.
I agree. So you're saying that that's something that was different with Crawford in that fight with David Evanesian?
No,
Well, you
because
said it was
Crawford knocked.
rare. You said it was rare, and most
No,
fighters don't do that. So I
no.
figure
I'm
you're
saying the way he knocked him out, that's rare. Like it's only a couple. Every fighter in the boxing is not knocking nobody out like that. It's only a couple fighters that's doing that. Meaning that kind of knockout is rare. Like you got those once in the blue knockouts where they go out. Like you got this one person just put somebody lights out like that. Like Deontay
like
Wilder,
Deontay Wilder. Like
Canelo.
Deontay
Remember,
Wilder.
I think Canelo did it before. Yeah.
Right, but I'm just saying, I understand like Deontay Wilder, somebody like him.
Mm-hmm.
We used to see him do this over and over again, right?
Yeah. Well, not one punch knockout, but knockout like the last 11 fights, straight knockouts.
Yeah. We haven't seen Crawford do that though. That's what I'm trying to. When you said he knocked out David Evanesian, that's what I'm trying to understand you, because we've seen Wilder do this over and over and over again, but we haven't seen Bud do it. You said it was rare in boxing, and I have to agree with you. It is. So that's why I'm asking you: is something different about Crawford in that fight when he fought Evanesian?
Nah, I didn't notice anything different
Oh,
from
okay.
Terence Crawford. He was the same. Go in there and just Terence Crawford goes in there with a game plan, and in that game plan, he gonna execute it no matter what you try to do in there. Man.
Yeah,
He's
yes,
just
I
he's a
do agree with.
generational talent.
Yeah, I agree with you. So I asked Jamal Neasy this. I don't think you were here. You might have heard me, but since you are a Crawford fan, maybe I can ask you, and you can help us understand. You know that Crawford is down with Victor Conte with the snack program. You are aware of that in his last 3 fights.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he first started with Snack with Sean Porter, then David Evanesian, and now Errol Spence. Would you say that in the last 3 fights, in your opinion, as a Bud fan, that Crawford looked a little different in his last 3 fights now that he's with the Snack program?
No, Bud has looked at like Bud. Yo, I don't. Maybe because I look at it differently, and I look when I see him fight, I just look at it because he could do so many things. So I just look at it like, how he's going to get this guy out of there. Um, the way he fights is like he been doing that. That's what he does. Like he goes in there
So
and figures you out.
you're saying that Bud Crawford is not receiving the benefits of Snack, so he shouldn't even be over there. They taking this guy's money and they robbing him. He shouldn't even be over there. He's not getting no benefit from it. You know what I mean? They should give him a refund or something. Maybe he shouldn't be a part of those guys.
Yeah, I mean that's him. I feel like he getting money with them promotion, paying them. They should strength and conditioning, right?
Right,
Help
that's
him
what
get
I'm
right.
saying. There's strength and conditioning programs. So understand, they're not. If the strength and conditioning program is making him look the same in his last 3 fights with them, maybe he should leave them alone because he's giving them money to be a part of. They stealing money from the guy. It's not working. He's the same guy, is what you're saying.
I mean, man, if he want to work with Victor Conte, he can work with Victor Conte. Devin Haney works with Victor Conte. It's a whole bunch of fighters in boxing that works with Victor Conte, not just
I'm
Bud.
glad. I'm glad you brought them up because Devin Haney, he does work with Victor Conte, and guess what? And I'm gonna keep it all the way 100 with you, like I always do. If Devin Haney would have knocked out Lomachenko cold, I would have been looking at him the same way. You know I would have, Jamal Neasy, because
Yeah,
his
I would have too,
performance
cause
would look totally different. His performance looked totally different in a Lomachenko fight. You know what I'm saying? Cause you know why? We're not used to see. It's rare, like you said. It's rare to see that. So if Devin Haney did something rare that we've never seen him do before, and he's over there, oh yes, I would be questioning Devin too. But Devin looks regular in all his fights. He looked the same to us. I mean, to
It
me,
just
he
Bud
looked the
looks
same
different.
to me.
It
Huh?
just Bud looks different. It just Bud looks different. That's the only guy that looks different on the program.
You
I
said it was
just,
rare to knock somebody out cold, brother. You said it was rare. That's what you said, bro.
yo, bro, he has done it before though. Bud has knocked people out before. Like
Cold?
this is known. Like he has beat people up, knocked them out.
No. Hold on. We're not saying beat people up. Don't mix that in the same pot, brother. I said
Knockout.
knocked out. Yeah, that means one punch, you out cold sleep for 40. The ringside position got to pull a timer out. The timekeeper, you know that's what
So
they
all
do.
right, so we said David Avenesian, right? It was rare, so he went to sleep, correct? So
Yeah,
why
he
should
went to
so if
sleep.
that's the case, right? So if Terrence Crawford is just this different person since Victor Conte, why didn't he knock Sean Porter out that way? And why didn't he like cause like real damage to Errol Spence face?
Well, that's the reason what. Hey, Jamal, you are a very intelligent young man. That's what I'm asking you.
No, my name
That's
is
what I'm
not me.
asking you.
That's actually motorsport, brother Marty.
Oh, motorsports. I'm sorry. I keep calling you Jamal. Motorsports. Thank you, Terrell.
Yeah.
That's what I'm asking you. That's the question I'm saying.
I just don't. I'm not gonna buy into it that Terrence Crawford looked different because he's on Victor Conte program and he had 3 fights and he didn't hurt. He didn't really hurt Sean Porter or Errol Spence and he just knocked out David Avenesian. I'm gonna say he's just
Whoa,
a
whoa,
different fighter.
whoa. Wait a second. I agree with you that he didn't hurt Sean Porter. That was his first fight with them, with Victor
Uh-huh.
Conti. He didn't hurt Sean Porter. But you know, when you're on supplements, and I'm talking about legal now, performance enhancing. You saw what the snack program said on Instagram. You know, it builds up the more you fight with it. So the first fight was with Sean Porter. He couldn't hurt Porter, dropped him twice. The second fight, he knocked David Evanesian out cold, over 40 seconds flat. The man was unconscious. In the third fight, he disfigured Errol Spence's face. And actually, when he dropped Errol Spence twice, he actually was hurt. It wasn't a Sean Porter
Um,
situation where he got dropped twice and he still was alert and up. No, I'm telling you, I was there. I saw it live. Errol Spence was real hurt, bro, when he got knocked
Now you
down.
see that? See, I don't agree with that. I don't agree that Errol Spence just got hurt. You get what I'm saying? He got beat up. Yeah, he got to. But maybe I look at it because I'm from the streets, right? So
Okay, you
we
know
get
what?
fights all the time. You get beat up. You get punched in your face. That's just gonna happen. Your swelling go down and you look good.
All right,
Now I'm saying he
motorsport.
didn't get hurt as far as like why he ain't got no all the clean effective punches he took. Why he ain't got no broken eye sockets, no broken jaws, no broken noses, no missing teeth. Why he ain't got none of that? He just got hit clean.
Here's the thing. I'm glad you said that because I'm not an in-ring performance expert, and I told you that before. But I had the referee in that fight, Motorsports. If you was here, I had the
Yeah, I was
referee
here.
on this
I seen it.
channel,
I was here.
and I interviewed him, and he told me by round 5 he was ready to stop the fight. The professional referee said that Errol Spence was hurt. In fact, even if you didn't hear the interview, he brought the ringside physician in the ring after 4 rounds. So,
Oh yeah, I watched the fight. I
all
seen that.
right.
But what I
So,
mean, all right. But what I
so
mean by
Errol
hurt
Spence
is
was
like
hurt.
broken bones. Like I mean by broken bones. Like when Errol Spence fought Ugas, he hurt Ugas. Like he hurt that man. That man couldn't fight for a couple months. He couldn't fight. He broken shoulder bones, broken eye socket. So that's what I mean
I
by he didn't
agree.
hurt these guys. Like
Was
that's what I
that
mean by he didn't
before?
hurt.
Wait, you said the Ugas fight?
Yeah, like Errol Spence broke that man bones.
Right. So what was the fight that Earl fought before that? That was Danny Garcia, right?
Danny Garcia. Yeah.
Right. And then after Danny Garcia fought Spence, I think Crawford fought Porter, right?
Yeah, Crawford fought Porter. But
I
if you
had a
remember, and this is another thing, I heard y'all was talking earlier on the panel when they said this, they were talking about the lead up. And I think D-Town had said something about it, the lead up to the fight where like Crawford at one point said he didn't need Spence, but he didn't see the fight happening and everything. It was because after the Danny Garcia fight, they asked Errol Spence in the ring about Bud Crawford. And Errol Spence said, I don't know why this man coming to my fights. I don't go to his fights. basically disrespected Bud. And then after that, that's when Bud was just saying, like, I don't need him. If the fight gonna happen, if it don't, or whatever, I don't need this guy. That's what happened.
No. All right, but hold on. Before we go on there, I have a question about something. Because you confirmed something with me, and this is what I'm trying to get to. Because I'm trying to picture it in my mind so we all can be on the same page. So Errol Spence fought Errol Spence fought Danny Garcia, right?
Yeah.
Motorsports, are you there? All right. So Errol Spence fought Danny Garcia after the car accident, right? And then Crawford went and fought Sean Porter. No. Hear me out.
Yes.
Danny Garcia, Errol Spence fought after the car wreck, right?
Yes.
Sean Porter and Crawford fought after Spence fought Danny Garcia, right?
Yes.
Errol Spence looked the same to you, even in this fight, right?
And looked the same to me as he looked at it with Danny and Ugas?
Yeah. No. From this fight with Crawford and Danny Garcia.
Yeah. Looks like
right.
the same guy.
Got you. So my question to you now becomes, if Spence looked the same when he fought Crawford in this fight than he did when he fought Danny Garcia, and Crawford fought Sean Porter after Garcia, my question becomes, what did he go to snack for to fight a guy who looked equally the same?
He was working
Is my mic on? Hello.
he was working with Victor Conte already.
Right. He was working with him before he fought Porter, a few months beforehand, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. So he was working with Conte a few months before he fought Porter. After he saw Spence fight Garcia. So I'm asking you, if Spence looked the same when he fought Garcia after the car wreck than he did when he fought Crawford, what did Crawford go with Victor for? Because he can beat the same guy he did the night of this fight.
That's like saying, why would Errol Spence not go with Blue
See,
Rays?
you going why can't you Bud fans answer the questions, bruh?
Because I can't answer that. Why would you go to a snack? I know what you're insinuating, though. You're insinuating
no, I'm not
that he went to
insinuating
snack
nothing.
program.
I want you to
you're insinuating that he went to snack
no, I'm
program.
not. I'm asking
to get ready for Errol Spence. And it's not like that doesn't even make sense.
Listen. I'm making sense when I talk. If we saw, hold on, let me put it on the screen because I want everybody to understand. I'm confused. If the snack program offers products that improve your level of fitness, help lose fat, build muscle, and enhance performance. These are their words, not mine. If this is true about the snack program, why would Bud go to the snack program if Errol Spence looked the same when he fought Danny Garcia that he did when he fought him now? He didn't need the snack program. If he looked the same and didn't look different, you agree with me, don't you?
I agree he didn't need it, but I agree.
What'd he go over there for and get that white man all that money? Why he go get all that man that money for? Strength and conditioning.
But I think he ain't go. I think he's over there promoting as well.
No, he wasn't. Like using the supplement.
A whole video thing that came out when Terrence Crawford actually went over there. He did like a whole promotional thing with that snack joint.
Terrence Crawford was working in the gym in April of 2021 before he fought Porter. That's when he went over there. So what I'm saying is, why would he go over there if Spence looked the same that he did after the wreck when he fought Danny Garcia?
I don't know. He probably could have been worried, man. I'd have been worried too, bro. You get thrown out of a car like that, and you come back and beat a Danny Garcia. I'm gonna go join Victor Conte too. Spence is. Don't let me get wrong. I'm a Bud fan now, right? But I'm an Errol Spence fan, and I know Errol Spence is a destructive ass fighter, bro. He will break you up and break you down. So like, I'm never gonna take nothing from Errol Spence. So anybody seeing that would probably be like, hold on, I gotta step my strength and conditioning up real quick.
I agree.
This dude got.
Listen, a
But
motorsports.
I'm not saying that's what he did. I'm just saying anybody would have seen that, would have had, or probably would have had a thought like, hold up, this dude fighting with the concrete and he coming back. I gotta go get right.
I agree. Hey, brother, I agree with you. I agree with you. But what I'm saying is Bud Crawford fans don't agree with me.
I mean,
You just said that the man might have been concerned. Hey, listen, I don't, it's all good if he
because
was.
I'm a
It's no
realist.
problem with
I'm a
that.
realist. Like I'm a realist. If I see somebody have you just went through something devastating that would have probably took the normal person out, and you come back and you look almost all right, like you look like you still breaking bones and you still like I'm not going to sit there and say that that's what Terrence Crawford did because I'm not in Terrence Crawford mind. I'm not going to say that's what he did, but me personally, as I probably would have looked at that like, hold up, wait a minute, hold up, bro, this dude ain't normal, man. Well, he's doing some stubborn, bro. You get what I'm saying? That's what I would have
Right.
looked at it like, yo.
Hey, D-Town, are you still there? I think D-Town. Oh, D-Town's there. What's your take on the point that I just made, D-Town?
I walked out a few minutes. Can you?
All right, so what I was saying was this, D-Town, real quick. And Terrell can back me up. He heard me. He was in Motorsports, heard me too. All right, so Motorsports said Errol Spence looked the same in the fight against Crawford than he did when he fought Danny Garcia. So I said Danny Garcia and Spence fought after his car accident. He said yes. I said, did Crawford fight um Porter after Spence fought Danny Garcia? He said yes. I said, so my question is, since we all know that Crawford went over to Victor Conti a few months before he fought Sean Porter, why did he go over there with Victor Conti if Errol Spence looked the same when he fought Danny Garcia, the same way he did when he fought Crawford? He didn't need to go over there because the guy looked the same. He didn't need to go over there if he didn't think that his performance level was high, meaning Spence performance level. He didn't need to go over there and waste all that money on them people. That's my opinion.
No, he went over there because he know Earl Spence was that guy. You know what I'm saying? He needed help to fight against Earl Spence Jr. You know, that man filled back up that night of the fight real quick. I mean, that dude looked like dang Super Saiyan. You know, and Earl Spence like he was struggling to get back on weight. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, Terrence Crawford not stupid. The man know that he needed help to fight Earl Spence. People keep saying that Earl Spence can't beat Terrence Crawford. No, if Terrence Crawford felt like he could beat Earl Spence, then why run the snacks? Just do it the old way. Do it like Earl Spence doing it. Just go the old way, brute, hard. Let's make it happen. Go in there and show the world you the man. So why do you need all this extra supplements and stuff like that, knowing that this man, and I don't trust Victor Conti. That's me personally, you know, and that's my opinion. But Terrence Crawford knew that he needed some kind of help to get in the ring with Earl Spence because everything we said Earl Spence was, Earl Spence is, and Terrence Crawford know that. And just like Bomac said, dang, I didn't think it was going to be this easy because they know for a fact, they know also too that Earl Spence was not the same Earl Spence. They know that. Terrence Crawford and Bomac both know that. But the reason why they went to Snacks is because they needed all the help they could to help Terrence Crawford. And don't get me wrong, Terrence Crawford, he can fight. He can fight his tail off. But he needed that extra backpack to help him to get in that ring with Earl Spence. So that's the reason why he went there. I mean, if he felt like he could beat Earl Spence fair and square, then what's the point of going to spend extra money to go to Snacks when you keep the money in your pocket?
Terrell, what's your take on that? Without you heard me say it twice at this point. What's your take on my point that I was making?
Personally, you know, it fits. It's only fitting to be able to see and call it for what it is. And you know, I'm like D-Town. I know about Victor Conte all the way back to the Barry Bond days and all the other sports figures in baseball. And so I don't trust the brother or the man no further than I can see him or toss him. However, uh, to Bud's defense, to some degree, the program is a legal program.
Yes, it is.
And if he believed that that's what he needed to do to compete against Earl and to get an early start and use some guinea pigs along the way, the Sean Porters and the David Avanesians, because a guy to Bud's skill level, I believe, with a program like that, utilizing it to its highest standard, can indeed make him be better than what he was. And, you know, even if some other things took place along that line, then hey, it lends a whole lot of credit to Bud having good sense and knowing what he needed to do to defeat this guy.
And here's the thing. I see them in the chat saying I'm insinuating. I'm not insinuating nothing. I'm
No,
asking basic questions based on all of the facts that are presented. We know that it's a fact that Terrence Crawford started working with Snack and Victor Conti a few months before the Sean Porter fight. That is a fact. That is nothing to insinuate.
that's
We
right.
know that Terrence Crawford's performance was the best performance that we've ever seen him have in 40 fights with Spence. That's not insinuating. That is also a fact. It's also a fact that the Snack program themselves have promoted their brand on the Instagram that tells you that the products that they sell and the resources that they provide over there will improve your level of fitness, help you lose fat, build muscle, and enhance performance. So they saying these are all facts that I'm outlining. So I'm just asking the question, and the thing is, the reason why I'm asking the real questions like this is because if what Snack's program is what it is and is really good, like we see the performance changes in Crawford for the last 3 fights, my recommendation is Spence need to go over there. Errol Spence, if you're listening, go on over there and do the same thing that Terrence Crawford is doing. Go over to the Snack program because they work. They work. And I should be able to advertise for Snack right here because I see the level of benefits. And hey, I wouldn't mind promoting and advertising for him, but I'll tell Spence, go on over there with that same program. But Motorsports, if it's not working, then Crawford needs his money back if he didn't look different in this fight.
I mean, Terrence Crawford always surprised me in every fight he has. Since I became a fan of him, since he met up with Earl Spence, because I was an Earl Spence fan. A lot of people don't know this. I was an Earl Spence fan. I didn't even know who Bud was.
Yeah, most Crawford fans was the Errol Spence fan. They jumped in the bandwagon. I appreciate your
Nah,
honesty, Motorsports. Thank you.
I didn't, I'm a Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather is my GOAT. So, you know, anything coming from Floyd Mayweather, I'm a fan of. Like, Tank is my favorite
Okay.
fighter. That's who I'll be. If you ask me, am I a fan of Tank? I'm a fan of Tank. Crawford, I discovered Crawford in 2000. I believe that was 17 or 18 when they ran in head to head in Oklahoma. Errol Spence and Bud. 18, right? That's when I
Yeah.
became a Terrence Bud Crawford fan. Because I'm like, yo, this dude wants to fight. Why Errol Spence talking about he want to fight all these dudes before him? Let me do some research on this dude. And I did, and I've been a Bud fan ever since. And every fight I've watched Bud in, he got better. Even when I thought he got hit, like, oh, why he hitting this? Why that boy hit Crawford like that? Crawford just find a way. He just special, man. And
Yep.
last time I felt like this about a fighter is when Floyd was fighting. When everybody I had to be in this and argue about Floyd, and everybody talking about Floyd ducking and no Floyd, and I had. So like, he just reminded me of that. The way he go in that ring, figure you out, find out what you like to do best, and then he just start using it against you.
Got you. The reason why Errol Spence, I got you, well, Rel. The reason why Errol Spence wanted to go through uh leaving Crawford for last is because he knew and understood the business that it makes it very, very easier to fight the guys that are in-house, no different than what Bob Arum is doing over at Top Rank. They let everybody fight each other in-house first. It's no different. So Spence understood that the guys that had the belts over there at PVC, it made it easier, smoother negotiations, and he would be the A side every single fight. So of course he's going to go over there and he's going to say, "I'm going to take all the belts from these guys I can beat, and then Crawford's last because Bob Arum and Al Heyman, they could not get along in negotiations, which is why I told Bud Crawford to his face at the fight with Danny Garcia and Spence that if the guy is not able to make these fights happen for you that you saying that you want, don't resign with him. And then a year later, guess what happened, Motorsports? He didn't resign with him. And then manager Marty comes right out of the blue on YouTube, thanks to YSM Sports Media, the real Marlo TV,
No,
and the guy Detail Boxing. And then I start being the one giving Crawford play by play recommendations as if he was my client to secure this fight. And he did everything that manager Marty told him to do. But I'm still being criticized by all of the Bud Crawford fans. And even when I'm asking a question right now, listen, let's keep it 100. If R. Kelly got out of jail right now, and I came on YouTube and I told y'all, listen, y'all, R. Kelly changed his life around. He did time. I'm going to have 3 of my daughters, which I do have 3 daughters. I'm going to have 3 of my daughters go sing with R. Kelly, and they're going to put an album together. Even you, Motorsports, would ask me, why would you send your daughters over there with R. Kelly? Even though he did his time, even though he did time behind bars, he prayed, asked God for the forgiveness. You wouldn't even want me to bring my daughters over there to do no album with R. Kelly. So all I'm saying is Crawford is over there with Victor, and he did his time. I appreciate him changing his life around. But we got to call a spade, brother. He's the one that distributed, manufactured, and sold steroids to athletes all across the world. So all I'm saying is it makes people raise their eyebrows, trying to see why Terrence go over there. That's all I'm saying, brother. You understand what I'm saying, don't you, Motorsports?
I understand. Do I agree? No.
You would want me to
Do
take
I
my daughters to
agree
do an
that?
album with R. Kelly?
No. I mean, I wouldn't. But that's not the same as Top Rank
It
and,
is
and,
the
and
same,
PBC. It's not. It's not the
brother.
same, brother. It's
It's a
not the same.
crime. A
You know why
crime
it's not
is
the same? Because Top Rank and PBC has done business before that.
I ain't
Before that,
talking
they've
about,
done business
no.
before.
Hold on. Motorsports. I want you to make sure we're the same. I'm talking about Victor Conti, bro. That's what I'm talking about. Victor Conti, who sold steroids to athletes all around the world, who manufactured. And he'll tell you that, and he told when he did interviews after he got out of jail, he'll tell you he knows how to circumvent the test to make your test come up negative when you got steroids in you. His words, not mine. So what we saying is, if you wouldn't want my daughters to go do an album with R. Kelly when he get out after he was convicted and he changed his life around, some people may not, find it comfortable for Crawford to go over there with that guy, even though he's saying he changed his life around. And he did time in jail. That's all I'm saying. I ain't accusing
Is the
nobody.
snack
I'm
program
just saying.
available to all fighters?
Huh?
Is the snack program available for all fighters to want to be into or get
If you
into
got the
and
money,
participate in?
if you got the money to pay for it, absolutely. Yes.
Okay, so then I'm just saying, Errol Spence should go hire Snack.
Hey, that's what I want him to do. I want him to go over there with Victor Conti.
Huh?
That's what I've been saying for the last 2 weeks. I want Spence to go over there with Victor Conti and get on the snack program.
I mean, because if he's doing everything legal, if he do it by now, because I heard about all the controversy he had back in the day when he done went to jail, when he's tagged to steroids. I understand that,
Yes.
but now he's running a legal program, and if he's choosing to do right by these fighters, which he has like a good, I believe it's like a good 5 to 6 year stint right now, where he's been good. Nothing been coming out of his camp. Nothing becoming legal. He hasn't been. None of his fighters been popping. He's been. These fighters been actually
true.
looking healthy.
That part that none of his fighters didn't pop. That's not really true. Aaron Muhammad was on the show, and he talked about the several fighters that did pop. But I'm listening to you.
Oh well, I didn't know that. But if it is, then that's something that they need to look at, because boxing is not a play sport. Like, you get what I'm saying? These guys actually putting life.
Yeah, I'm just saying what people saying, but they're scared to come out and just say it. They're not saying that Bud is cheating. No, nobody's saying that, but what it's saying is they're suspicious. That's all. People suspicious. You know what I'm saying? That's all that is, and that comes with it, motorsports. When you got somebody that have that type of past, like Victor Conti, nobody's accusing. We just saying You know, hey, and even you seen motorsports that the snack programs benefits. Ooh, they work good. We seen Crawford in the last 3 fights detail. Some supplements is good. Good program. I want Spence over there to go. I want Spence to go to the program. Now,
Yeah,
this what I'll
that,
tell you.
if
If
that program doing that, shit, I'm about to
Now
go
I'm gonna
see
tell
what
you
they got.
like this. If you want to hear me say this like this, if Bomac get on the snack program and his body look different, I know it's something wrong with it.
Nah. If he do that, I'm telling you, I'm about to go look into some snack products right now. I'm about to go look into some snack products right now. I'm working out, and I ain't seeing results fast enough, so it's about to be that. But yo, Marty, I enjoyed talking to you here.
His phone was going out.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, Terrell. And I did say you was next. But when I talk to Crawford fans, I noticed when the truth start coming out, that Boost Mobile just stopped working for some reason. The Boost Mobile don't, that truth start coming. You know I play around so much, man. So
Yeah.
Terrell, it was on you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. The floor is yours, bro. Speak on it.
Well, actually, I had a question for you, but I needed.
Okay.
I was really wanting Brother Motorsport to be on, but however,
Ah,
this is for everyone else who is also in the chat and maybe listening to us live. But before I ask that question, I mean, I get what you were saying about the Vada thing, and the humor that was in it. I mean, with the snack thing and the humor that was in it for Spence to go over, but Spence already has a resume that has worked for him in Blu-ray. He needs to go back to that. And secondly, my question to you, beloved brother, is was VADA testing? Did we ever find out was VADA
it's
testing
internet,
ever
bro.
involved prior to this fight, or some type of Olympic style testing? Did we ever find out the answer to those questions that you had been asking all of us, Manager Marty? D-Town, we seem to have lost the manager.
When I talked to manager Marty, he told me that he talked to I forgot the man's name, but the man that works side by side with Al Heyman. And
Right.
he said that he talked to him that night, seen him at the elevator, and
Okay.
asked. I don't know if he want me to share. Let's see if he want to share.
But he did. Well, as a matter of fact, Manager Marty did say that much on live. He did what you was about to mention. I heard him
Okay.
when he said that. Yeah, I did hear that. But I was meaning since then, because that was a couple of weeks ago when he made that comment to you. Um, and I was still wondering, had there been VADA testing for this fight, or even Olympic style, testing for this fight? That was my question to Manager Marty.
Say that one more time. Uh Go ahead, I'm
Oh,
listening.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. My question was, since what you mentioned publicly by talking to someone that was close to Mr. Heyman back during the fight, the question that you had asked, had VADA testing been done for this fight, or Olympic style testing, either one or both, or whatever the case may be, or any testing? Did we ever find out the answer to that question? Is my question to you.
There was a pause again. You said since VADA testing, I
Oh,
asked.
no. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir. My question was to you directly. Since the last time you spoke to the person that was close to Mr. Hayden, the night of the fight, I believe, afterwards. Since then, you raised the question of, had there been any VADA testing for this fight, or Olympic style testing, or any testing to be to that degree had been done, and I wanted to know, has that answer been given to you since?
No. When I asked the person, they told me straight up that they didn't know. I
Yeah, I
thought that
remember
was
that.
I thought that was relatively, strange because they represent Spence. They represent the entire promotion company. But then again, most people may not be privy to it. So I'm not holding them accountable for it, but I was told I don't
Right.
know. I haven't heard anything else after that, even up until the day. And if I do hear something about was there VADA testing or not, I will give an update. I have no problem. I wanted to be VADA testing for every single fight, especially the major fights with all the belts on the line and all this money being exchanged around to all the sanctioning bodies and different things like that. You know, the reason why I was like asking in the first place is because we've seen Jamel Charlo. He's undergoing VADA right now to fight Canelo. We saw Broner ask for
That
VADA testing
same
when he
night.
fought Pacquiao. So it's like this fight between Crawford and Spence is way bigger than both of those fights. No disrespect to Broner and Pacquiao or Charlo and Canelo, but everybody wanted to see this fight. It's all the marbles on the line. You know what I mean? So it's like it should be automatic, in my opinion, since Mr. Victor Conti, and the reason, and that's another reason why I brought it up in the first place, because Victor Conti back in February, which I posted on this channel, his tweet said that he DM'd Errol Spence personally and was asking him about,
Yes.
being sponsored to do VADA. And it's like, why would they ask him to volunteer to be sponsored when he's a part of the World Clean Boxing Program with as a WBC title holder? Why is Victor Conti interjecting himself into the negotiations or interjecting himself to personally reach out to Spence to say, I'll pay for your testing? What was all that about? And of course, we know Crawford was with him at that point, meaning that he was under his strength and conditioning program with Snack. So it was like, what was all that about? That's like a puzzle to me. And that just didn't, I just didn't understand it. So that's what made me start asking about VADA from the beginning, because Victor Conti came out first and he publicized that he was DMing Errol Spence because he said, not my words, but Victor Conti's words, that Crawford already agreed to VADA testing. So now that the fight happened, I wanted to know, was there VADA testing based on what was said back in February of 2023 up until now?
Another question.
Yes, sir.
How does, and this is for my personal education, and I'm sure that you may be able to answer it, but how does testing work under the Nevada Boxing Commission in that state?
Very good question.
Is it mandatory? Is it obligatory? You know what I mean? Before a fight,
Yeah,
or
it's mandatory. It's mandatory. Most athletic commissions, they do the testing after the fight, where they make both fighters, I hate to use the word urinate, but urinate, and they use the specimen to provide the urinalysis, and then that's it. That's the only protocol. But you have to take my
wow,
word for it. We know Victor Conti, he was very adamant years ago in interviews saying
undetectable.
that those tests don't mean a hill
Right.
of beans when you're trying to find undetectable steroids or PEDs in a fighter's system. You will not find it. You might find barbiturates, weed abuse, cocaine, because that's all the level of technology they use for those testing. Testing is just like being randomly drug tested at your job or an employer. They're not testing for steroids. They're testing for alcohol abuse or weed and barbiturates and over-the-counter medication abuse and cocaine and those different things of that nature. So those are the same tests, or a prerequisite to gaining employment when you take a drug test. You know what I mean? It's the same protocol when we talk about the athletic commissions. And these drugs and steroids and PEDs today, they will not show up in your system when you're doing your analysis. And that's why, Olympic style testing is the way it is as far as stringent testing, because it's random, number one. 365, 7 days a year, at any given time, they can pop up on you, and you have to not just draw urine, you got to draw blood as well. And Victor Conti gave us the blueprint of how he taught athletes how to taper off. Whereas though 10 days, 14 days, 21 days, even 60 days, he said that the steroid use might not show up in your testing as a positive result, because the substances are not in your body, but you can still receive the benefits of it. Man, that's dangerous. You can still receive
Very.
the benefits of a drug that's not even in your system, that's allowing you to test negative for it, but you're receiving the benefits of it, and because you tapered off at a certain time. and these things are undetectable. He's the man that manufactured it all, so I'm going to take his word. He's the expert.
Right. Thank you for that, brother.
Yes, sir. D-Town, are you still there, brother? I mean, I know we're talking about PEDs, we're talking about the snack program, and I'm not marrying the two together, saying that the snack program is a PED. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that obviously the snack program and the products that they sell online, they are all basically they are affordable too, but they also are approved to be used. Obviously, they're not on the PED banned substance list, so those supplements do have some value, but they work. From what I can see, every time I see somebody that take it, their performance level will be good. No, I mean, not saying that they change, but their performance be the program work. I want Spencer going over there. What's your take on it?
I think that Victor Conti, he knew the time frame for Crawford to jump on, to sign up with snacks, put it that way. And I think that when he did that back with Sean Porter, and I think that Terrence Crawford knew the time that he wanted or needed to fight Earl Spence. This is the reason why he didn't fight Earl Spence back at the end of 2022, because he needed that extra time, you know what I'm saying, for things to work right. So when he took that fight with Earl Spence, because it's funny, you called Earl Spence, just like you said, my brother, Manager Marty, he
You
called
said I
Earl Spence.
called them?
No, you told me that Terrence Crawford called Errol Spence Jr., but before he didn't, he wasn't trying to make the fight with Errol Spence Jr. So
Yeah.
in the interview that I seen with Terrence Crawford, he said it's all about timing. Terrence
Yeah.
Crawford said this lately. He says all about timing. So what do you mean it's all about timing? Is it was the right time for you to fight Earl Spence at the beginning of 2023 because the things that you was taking or dealing with Victor Conti would have lined up right at that time? You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I'm just saying, what timing are you talking about? Because at the end of 2022, you had one belt, Earl Spence had three. So y'all could have fought then. So what timing? I mean, what? You gonna get more pay-per-view sales? No. You just gonna get more money? No. I mean, what timing are you talking about? That's what I'm trying to figure out. So I believe that they knew that that's why I keep telling people every week is a different feel for everybody. You don't feel the same this week as you felt the week before, or 6 months, or a month, or a year or two, whatever. It's different. You're getting older and older. It's different. You know what I'm saying? You might wake up, you might go to sleep feeling good, or wake up feeling bad, just all of a sudden. So what I'm saying is they knew that Earl Spence waited him out, knew that it was going to take a toll on him to make that weight, and also to the things that he was taking with Victor Conti, all going to play a part to it was the right time for him to fight Earl Spence at that time. And like I said, I'm not saying that you cheated. I'm not saying that something happened, but we know the sport of boxing is dirty. But out of Terrence Crawford's mouth, he said it's all about timing. So I'm trying to figure out what timing are you talking about? You the B side, you're not the A side. So what are you talking about?
Right. Well, speaking of timing, and let me bring people up to speed when you start talking about the fact that I said that Crawford said in an interview detail that he called Spence. Terrence Crawford was in an interview a few weeks before the fight, and he told some reporters that interviewed him, he told them that he called Errol Spence in January. He said those exact words. He called Errol Spence in January. Now, remember what happened in January. He was in De La Hoya's office over at Golden Boy in LA. We know that happened in January because they posted a picture, they, meaning Oscar De La Hoya and Bernard Hopkins, they posted a picture on their, I think it was either Twitter or Instagram, that Terrence Crawford was over there. Because remember, what's this kid's name that fought? Rocha, Alexis Rocha. You know what I mean? Alexis Rocha, he had fought that weekend. That was in January. And then in February, that's when the WBO sent the information for, them to go through a purse bid that they couldn't decide that Alexis Rocha was going to be the mandatory for Crawford. My point is that Crawford called Errol Spence in January. His words, not mine. The next month, February, Victor Conti basically tweeted about VADA testing, DMing Spence, and said that Crawford agreed to it out of the clear blue. This is January. Crawford calls Spence. February, Victor Conti interjects himself and he tweets something about VADA testing. Those two things that happened became one of the critical points of what D-Town Boxing is talking about, because the fight happened in, obviously, July. So in early 2023, we start to see Crawford call Spence. February, Victor Conti tweets, hey, we got to do something about this testing, VADA. And then all of a sudden now, this happens where they fight in July. Back to D-Town's point. If it was all like that, why you couldn't fight him in December? Because he fought David Evanesian in December of 2022, literally a month before he called Spence. So he could have fought him then. But like D-Town is basically saying is, it didn't make no difference. Why wait 6 months? What are we waiting for if all the fans wanted this fight to happen? No one's publicly saying that Crawford cheated. We're just looking at all of the facts that have unfolded before us, and people are asking questions. And I don't think there's anything wrong with people asking questions, because Crawford publicly said he called Spence in January. Victor Conti publicly tweeted in February that he DM'd Errol Spence. So you got two of these guys reaching out to Errol Spence. That's a fact. That's not an insinuation. Crawford reached out to him in January. That's what he said. Victor Conti DM'd, which is a private message, in the Instagram page of Spence. So both of these guys were very adamant with getting in contact with Errol Spence. Am I right or wrong? I'm not here to judge their motive. I'm just saying the facts remain that they reached out to him. Errol Spence, Al Heyman, Tom Brown, Sam Watson, Steven Espinosa. Those guys been trying to get this fight done with Crawford for a very long time, and they couldn't get done. All of a sudden, just when we thought that really Spence was going to move on and fight somebody else, he's getting all these phone calls because they knew that he was desperate to A, make a decision so he can stop worrying about struggling with this weight, and number two, resolve within himself, either he gonna fight Crawford for the belt or he just gonna move on. And they capitalized off of that anxiety of Spence. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. To me, that was a good business move, because he ran and went to go get representation to help him get it done. But the point of the matter is, everybody and their mom and pop knows that Errol Spence wanted this fight with Crawford so bad, being a man of purpose. And for us to see all the things before the fight unfold, we're starting to put the pieces to the puzzle together. We're just asking questions. And it's not about somebody's a Spence fan, somebody's a Bud fan. Me, I'm an analyst. I observe and analyze a lot of things. And sometimes I have to be the bearer of bad news, to be the first one on YouTube to bring this out and get all the heat and criticism. But I'm happy, because you know why? When everybody sit back and stop criticizing me and use intellect, they'll say, you know what? Man, Jamarty made a good point. And then you just start looking at all the facts, not insinuation. We're just looking at it what it is. They were initiating it. It's like they was chasing this man down. This man been trying to get this fight done for almost 2 years, and it couldn't get done. And all of a sudden, out this clear blue sky, he's getting calls in January from Crawford, and he's getting personal DMs by Conti. We got to keep it all the way and see what's going on with that. And I'm not insinuating nothing. We just got to keep it real. That's what they publicized and said it happened, not me. And so we got to understand is, okay, so now that happened in January, and then that happened in February, and then all of a sudden now we see the benefits of snack happening, because we got to keep it 100. The snack program is benefit Crawford. At least 3 fights that he was with him. Ain't no mistaking about it. And I'm not mad at him for it, because if you think you need an extra edge to beat somebody, this is boxing. This happens in real life. But all I'm saying is, to Crawford fans, when you see the benefit, please don't act like he's not different. Please don't act like Spence looked the same all his years. No, he didn't. Just be honest and say both fighters look different in this fight. I'm one of the first people that went on YouTube and said it. And it's the truth. And if you don't believe me, D-Town is here. I called him right after the fight was over. And I looked at BFTB 3 times. And I won't repeat what I told him. But I'm just saying, we need answers.
And they kept saying like Terrence Crawford wanted to fight Earl Spence when they met up in Oklahoma. I remember a guy was asked him, Bob Arum, over 10 times. He said, "Hey, when are you going to make this fight?" He like, "Well, who?" Well, Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford. He never said anything about making a fight. You had Terrence Crawford there, you had Bo Mack there, you had Bob Arum. You had the threesome, the three amigos. Who else do you need to talk to? The cut man, the water man? Who else you need to talk to make the fight? That dude said, "We're all brothers in arms. You need to stay away from Terrence Crawford." If Terrence Crawford wanted that fight, he should have looked at Bob Arum and say, "Look, hold up, bro. You work for me." Because last time I checked, Terrence Crawford said the promoters work for them. So he should have said, "Hey, Bob, you work for me, bro. Let's make that fight, man." He don't have to fight Sean Porter. He can fight me. Call Al, like Earl Spence just said. He said, Earl Spence said, "Look, I don't have a building." He said, "I'm my own promoter." But he said, "Guess what? Call Al." Less than a month later or a couple of weeks later, Earl Spence was in an interview. A lady interviewed Errol Spence and asked him. She said, "What happened between you and Terrence Crawford in Oklahoma?" He said, "I don't know what happened. All I know is I told Bob to call Al Heyman." He said, "I don't know if he called him or not, but I got a call saying, 'Hey, you need to fight Sean Porter.'" So Al, to what I believe, that Bob never called Al about the fight. This is the reason, probably the reason why they went on and told Earl Spence to fight Sean Porter. This is what I believe. But Errol Spence told him to call Al. So he had many opportunities to make that fight, and Terrence Crawford never told Bob to make that fight. Even Bob came out in the interview and said, Terrence Crawford, he never said he wanted Errol Spence. He said he wanted the money. And in Bob Arum's eyes, he thought that the Josh Taylor fight was more lucrative than the Errol Spence fight at that time. That's why he was trying to make the Terrence Crawford versus Josh Taylor. You know what I'm saying? So when people saying that Earl Spence didn't want to fight and he tried to fight Earl Spence in Oklahoma, no, you had everybody there to make the fight, and the fight still wasn't made. And this is the reason, like you said, Manager Marty, why he went on and fought Sean Porter, because he knew Bob Arum was smoking mirrors, like he told everybody. The man is smoking mirrors. He don't want to fight. So I'm gonna go over here and do what's right, fight the people over here at the PBC, because I'm not gonna have no problem. But if I try to fight Terrence Crawford, all Bob Arum saying that we are all brothers in arms. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, these people, they just saying anything. But I think that the fight would be totally different at 154. And I can't wait. I'm not saying that Terrence Crawford going to beat Earl Spence. I'm not saying Earl Spence going to beat Terrence Crawford. But it won't be that fight. I know that for a fact.
Well, it'd be a real even competitive fight, Terrell, if both of those guys was on a snack program.
just let Earl just let Earl go back and get Blu-ray, man. That's all I want him to do, man. And that'll even the playing field enough for me, man. He was 11 straight successful TKOs with brother Blu-ray, and he was his nutritionist and strength and conditioning coach. And so I don't believe that needs to change here in the future, man. Just that along with and with coupled with the recipe of Derek James, I think he'll be just fine. But Manager Marty, I want to also, man, let you know that I appreciate how when you do bring forth your line of questioning, that you give the disclaimer, letting everyone, whether you're a Spence fan or a Crawford fan, utilize the ability to use your own discernment. And so when people are saying that it's leading or coercion or speculative or making, insinuations, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's a question. You answer it based upon your intelligence of the question being asked. So it's really, or rhetorical or whatever they like to add to it, man, instead of just answering the question. You know what I mean? And sometimes we can get in the mindset of believing we have to explain because it's like we can see what's coming. I mean, in the question, I had to refrain from it myself and just talking to Jamal and just answer his question and then say what I have to say. You know what I mean? So that's a good practice, man. And so, yeah, I appreciate that. And D-Time, man, you keep doing what you're doing, brother. You do an excellent job as well, brother. And if you having something going on this evening, I'll be tuning in to you too.
I appreciate you coming on, Terrell. Thank you for your sentiments, my brother.
Absolutely.
Always a pleasure. You are more than welcome at any time. To
I'll
come
be
on the
back.
panel anytime, brother. Salute
Like
to you,
on the
my brother.
stove, nigga. I'll be back.
You got it, my man.
Yeah, shout
Thank
out to
you.
everybody on the chat, including all the women who participate and support boxing. Peace, my
Absolutely.
brothers. Thank y'all for allowing me this time.
Oh, absolutely. Peace, my brother. D-Town, you know I usually have you close this thing out. You know when this thing go off in the comment section, you know they gonna rip me apart. But as long as the truth prevails. Oh, super chat. Oh, my sister Diana here? Dang, why it didn't show me on my screen? Hold on for a minute. It's still not showing me on my screen. Hold on, Diana. It's not showing me on my what?
Yeah, she been in there. She was getting on me when we were talking about Earl Spence get those go and holler at Snack. She was like, "No, D-Town, no."
No, I saw her in the chat, but I didn't know she had a super chat. Is that what you were showing me?
Yeah, it just popped up. It just popped up her super chat. So hers
I
probably like
can't
maybe
see it.
the bottom.
It's not sure. It's not. I'm so
She
sorry, Diana.
didn't say anything, Manager Marty. She just got like some symbols and a Manager Marty sign doing like this, like your picture doing like this. So that's all it was.
Hey, Diana, she is a member of this channel. She know I'll stop my show for her, my sister. Thank you so much, Diana, for your contribution and your unwavering support all the time, and even engaging in the chat and making sure everything is going very smoothly in the chat as well. Thank you, Diana, for your support and your contribution to the channel. I can't see the super chat. What happens is StreamYard automatically puts a star next to it, so I can go in there and click it and just post it on the screen, and it's not here. So I apologize about that. I don't know why it's not showing me in the chat either that you send a super chat. So salute to you, Detail. Thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate each and every last one of you all coming here live tonight. We was on the ticket for about 3.5 hours. I hope you learned something about the sport of boxing and the business of boxing. I have some last words, and I just want to close it out with this in detail. He's going to give us what I call the benediction. Detail is going to close us out as he always does. And if Errol Spence is listening, you heard it first here live. You better go get the snack program, brother. It works magic, and we see the benefits happening all around the world with all the fighters. D-Town is on you, my brother. Salute to everybody, and I look forward to each and every last one of you coming back for another episode of Roll the Tape Podcast with Manager Marty. D-Town, take us home, brother.
I want to say something to Mad Dog. He's in the comments talking about that Terrence Crawford had a belt already at 147. Terrence Crawford did not have a belt at 147 when Bomac was talking about that they took the easy route to fight Jeff Horn. How did you have a belt before fighting Jeff Horn? No. He said that they took the easy route to fight for the WBO. That was Jeff Horn. So he didn't have a belt at that time. Bomac said that they took the easy route when they moved up to 147. So they had an opportunity to fight any of the champions at 147 when Terrence Crawford moved up from 140 because he was undisputed. So that was the question that was that BFTV and a couple of other guys had for Bomac. They asked him, if you wanted to fight Earl Spence Jr., why did you not go the IBF route instead of going the WBO? And Bomac said, because it was easier. We took the easy route to go the WBO route than to fight for the vacant WBC belt with Danny Garcia or fight for the IBF that Earl Spence had or the WBA. So it don't matter if Keith Thurman say, go get a belt first. If Terrence Crawford went the route of the WBA, it don't matter what Keith Thurman said. Keith Thurman would have had to fight Terrence Crawford. So Terrence Crawford did not have a belt when Bomac said that they took the easy route. The easy route is when they moved up to 147 to fight Jeff Horn because they knew Jeff Horn was the easiest champion to fight. So that's what that was. But anyway, family, salute to everybody, all my sisters, Dana and all the other sisters. Salute to every last one of y'all for even being in the comments. Salute to all the brothers, no matter if you agree or disagree. No matter if you're going for Terrence Crawford or Earl Spence, salute to every last one of y'all. Hey, y'all, family, y'all pray for me and my family, and I pray for y'all and y'all family. Salute. This D-Town Boxing signing out.